Hello, everybody. We're back. Um,
Hello.
I am going to go ahead and say that I've been too nice, apparently, which is too bad. Um, I was trying to be as amicable as possible and as constructive as possible. Um, Let me know if there's any issues, audio or otherwise, or video. We should be good. This is we got an interesting update when Jim decided to go live with Steve. Um, and that's that Jim is apparently allowed to do and say whatever he wants, and nobody else is. Steve let Jim get away with a lot there. But we'll talk about that, I'm sure, some other time. In the meantime, Jim's main issue when I came into that call was essentially he didn't like my tone. I think that my tone throughout my review, the first video, was fine. I got a little bit, not rude, not mean, not, what's the word I'm looking for? Not,
Um, it- it-
sorry?
Barely snippy. I mean,
I
you were a
got,
little bit passionate.
yeah, I got very straight and very like, no, this is to the point. This is an issue. Here's why this is an issue. I brought that tone over when I went live with Steve, and originally I was gonna swinging in with my normal, hey, what up? It's me, your boy. How's it going? I didn't do that, and I didn't do that because Jim's response, not only in his live chat, during this, who was saying that it's people are going to have take issue with this, and they probably won't talk to me live. I have been willing to do nothing but talk to Jim live, and he claimed we were being hostile, or I was being hostile because of my tone when I was reading out verbatim what the conversation him and Reds were having through me. And I will specify, a conversation him and Reds Rhetoric were having through me, specifically. I was playing a go-between for him. Here's the thing. I think I'm going to make a secondary demand, besides changing the title, because you're lying to people with that title. But you need to remove your third commandment. Your third commandment says alligator skin, and here you are complaining about a tone. This is the tone I was using. I got louder because you tried to interrupt me when I went to correct you, because what you were saying was straight up incorrect, which you then agreed with that it was incorrect when you double checked. So let's just go through real quick. Let me show you how this is a lie, and I will straight up show you how this is a lie and why this is a lie, because I'm not going to call somebody a liar lightly. So let me just move this on up. There it is. Oh, I can get rid of this. Here we go. You'll have to look on the outside, I'm sorry. I understand this is my first contact. This is from Monday. The interview went live at midnight on Wednesday. I understand. I just realized I showed his phone number. That's my bad. That's my mistake, and I apologize right out the gate. I am very, very sorry that I just showed your actual personal phone number. And I will not show it on the screen again. So I will... Shit. That's my mistake. And I am sorry, Jim, because that should not have happened. That is my mistake. I should have snipped this and cut it. Unfortunately, I was not given the time to do that. Alright, I'll just read it out and you guys will have to ask me for it later. I understand you'll be doing a response video on my interview with Kyle. I request to come onto your show to defend myself following that. Then he gives his phone number. He said text is best. Thanks, Jim. I said, what do you feel like you need to defend yourself for? He says, Steve said you're going to be somewhat critical of me. Implied it at least. I'm probably just jumping the gun. Anyway, the Kyle interview goes out on Wednesday morning. Take care. I said, so what do you think you will need defending on then? I'm just kind of confused about what you're asking about because nothing has come out yet, question mark, question mark. He posted a link. Oh shit, I thought you had already seen it. Here's the link to the unlisted video if you want to take a look. Steve says I let him walk all over me. The point of the interview, though, was mainly for me to apologize for some mistakes I made in the past and find a path towards redemption. But I made it abundantly clear on at least 3 separate occasions that I don't agree with what Kyle did. It's just that I did it in a very low-key, amicable, and anodyne way. Nah, my response, nah, I've seen it. Maybe I was unclear. Your first message to me was about defending yourself, but I haven't said anything, so I'm asking, what do you feel needs to be defended? Question mark. If you and or Reds, I have not said anything about Reds up until this point. If you and or Reds do decide to put out response videos, I'm guessing there might be a critical on how light I went on him. Oh, okay, gotcha. So he's concerned that we're going to be critical about how he was light on Kyle. So he's concerned that he was light on Kyle. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I don't see any issues. I think Reds mentioned he was going to invite you onto his channel. I'm down to do it. So now we're separating out Reds and me. I'm down to do an interview with you as well if you'd like. Absolutely. I have an interview with people on Wednesday afternoon. I'm on the Daily Atheist Thursday morning. Other than that, of those 2, my week is wide open. Jim. Okay, we'll work something out if/when any of us respond. Do you want me to forward this message to Reds? Yes, please. Best way to reach me, number. Will do. So I went ahead and responded as requested. Reds went ahead and watched the interview, and he thinks that you did a piss poor job, and that if you are to talk to him, there will be harsh criticism. So make sure that you're up for it before accepting his invite. This is not me being harsh to him. This is Reds saying that, laying out the playing field, that this is the way this is going to be. I'm going to give you harsh criticisms. Make sure you're prepared for that before you actually agree to do it. This is like a, hey, this is what you're going to walk into. I don't want you being surprised by anything. I'm still working on mine, as I would invite you onto my channel separately. I'm still debating on some things. There's the separating out again. This is what Reds is saying. Here's the stuff about me. Piss poor, question mark, is that the best choice of words for friends to use with each other, question mark. I am capable of being hostile, if you all would like to see that side of me instead. This is a threat of being hostile. This is saying, hey, I don't think you did a good job and you're going to be getting harsh criticisms based on the job that you did. None of that is hostile. There's no hostility. The only hostile part is coming from Jim here. So my response was, so I assume challenge accepted. He's agreeing to, he's essentially saying that if you're responding this way, I may be responding hostilely. I'm okay with that. I don't have a problem with this. I doubt Reds would have a problem with this. So I said, so I assume challenge accepted then. What challenge? The invite to the channel to hear out the harsh criticism. And then Reds responded, because I was relaying the messages to Reds because he asked me to, and I'm playing mediator for them. The invite says, quote, friendship ends when you suck the dick of a thief. End quote from Reds. Now, as far as I know, Reds and Atheist or Jim are not friends. Like, they're not people who talk to each other on a regular basis. They may have been, like, I am not friends with Jim. I've been on shows with Jim, but I don't talk to Jim personally. I've never had a one-on-one. This is the first time he had ever messaged me. So I quoted that from Reds to him as I am playing intermediary. Oh, I didn't know invite and challenge were synonyms. Yes, except the invite. After tomorrow afternoon 1, my entire weekend is wide open. So he's already agreeing. He's agreed this entire time. What time zone are you in? Central. Cool. We're in EST. We'll set up a date with one stipulation, and this is a stipulation that this is for Reds' thing that he's agreeing to. No rage quitting. Because over and over and over again, Reds gets people that agree to come on and go forward on their shit, and then they bail on him when he goes live, or they run away as soon as you start the conversation, just like he did on... He basically, Reds was making sure that Jim knew exactly what he was getting into, and that he actually agreed to do a stream and host a thing before actually committing to the work. I had already done my reviews at this point. I was almost completed writing up my notes, so I'd already done my stuff. So I was planning on doing my own stuff separately, whether or not he agreed to work with Reds or not, because that's not me. And then, so he had already agreed to this but no rage quitting. Atheist Edge, or Jim says, my stipulation is that it remain amicable. Reds said, no. If you want to go onto my channel and want my attention, then you take your lumps or fuck off. So either you're coming on, accepting the criticism, having a conversation about that criticism, which will be quote-unquote harsh, not mean, not derogatory, harsh. I would say that he would probably have been more harsh than I was in the first half, but I don't think I was harsh at all. So basically, come on and do it, or don't. I'm not playing games with you. I'm not here to be your friend. I'm here to give you these criticisms, either take it or not. He then stopped responding. I said, so is that a yes or a no? And then I said, you do realize that your interview lost you the privilege, this is where the word privilege was coming from, of having an amicable conversation. You've lost that privilege because of your interview, in this case with Reds. Because Reds doesn't have time for this bullshit. And then I said, remember, he just said harsh criticisms, not mean or unproductive. And then he never answered. So I then said, earlier today, just so you know, I'm going live on my channel now with my thoughts. You are still welcome to join me. I do not have the stipulation that Reds does. He refused because he said I was being hostile, or I was going to be hostile, etc., etc. And as you could tell, that was not the case. And then when I read this out the same way that I just read it out over on Steve's channel, he raged, swore at me, yelled, and then left. So.
And wouldn't come back unless you weren't there.
Yeah. So that's fine, whatever. This is, however, completely the opposite of what he presented in his comments when he messaged me asking to come on to talk. And then when I offered to come on to talk with him on Steve's channel, I was perfectly fine with being amicable. However, before I went on, or as I was getting ready to come on, Jim was doing nothing but talking shit about me. You know, the guy who's like, no drama. And lying about what was said. Remember, when I read part of that out and this is why I'm saying lying. This is why I'm saying lying specifically. I will be very, very clear on this. As I was reading that out and saying that he said that you did a piss poor job, none of this is hostile. If you want to interpret it as hostile, that's fine. But Jim's explanation was that, saying I sucked somebody's dick and isn't a friend, da-da-da-da. That's not what the conversation we were having. That's not what we were referring to. He is misrepresenting the end of the conversation and applying that to the beginning of the conversation. And he knows that. And did that as I was reading out verbatim the direct thing that was said. So, apparently I've been too nice. So, Jim wants to see hostile after being the only one who was actively being hostile. Do you have anything you want to add before we get moving on this?
No, I don't. I'm ready to start. I can't wait.
Cool. So let's go into this. So, since Jim had a problem with my tone, I will adjust my tone for the first little bit and call him out directly. Hey Jim, how's it going? I'm glad you managed to watch, and I'm so happy that you're taking the time out to talk to me, and I'm so excited to have you here. And I just wanted to say real quick about about your talk with Kyle, your interview with Kyle. You know what? Really brave of you. I totally respect that you did this, and I just had like a couple of small things, and they're just that you're hypocritical. You are full of it, and I really hope that you can do a better job in not being so dishonest. And hopefully that tone helped ease it for you. So, we are currently at the 44 minutes 10 second mark, and I'm just gonna grab my notes real quick. Oh, he also recanted on being a lawyer. Yeah, we'll specify that. Apparently I misheard him, and he actually said warrior, but perhaps I do think that was a miss. I don't think I heard that properly. That's why I was questioning it. But he is not. He did confirm that he is not a lawyer. So that's good. We got that one cleared up. So, ready?
Let's go.
All right.
And again, this is one individual that has the power to make those decisions. He could have a completely different look at it than I do, and it could go either way. I'm just telling you what I think. Steve won that default judgment based on it not being contested originally. There wasn't an answer from my side. There was no evidence put forth, tangible, that states that there was any agreement in terms of a partnership between the two of us. My thing was, when the channel sort of fizzled out, I was trying to broker like a deal with getting Steve 50% of the videos that he was in, and setting aside, breaking away that way. I ceased those sort of talks when the campaigns of harassment, not only towards me but the other former hosts of the channel, were happening, and the the super chats he was reading that were obvious, either slander or defamation. Obviously not true what he was saying for the money. And I went back and tallied those too, to a very shocking number that was generated based on that those slander, defamation. And so my case at that point became, well, there's an active campaign to cause a detrimental effect to the channel, which is the financial aspect of it. So he's actively damaging that sort of revenue stream while profiting from it in his own right. And so I decided that, fine, we need to let the courts, work this out and see where they go based on that. There was no way I was going to sort of feed into that behavior or reward that behavior by allowing him to do that to, not only me, but to the friends of mine that were part of the show, who were guilty of doing nothing but just being a part of the show. There was no grand conspiracy to over. I am solely responsible in that sort of where the direction of that sort of harassment needed to go, or was justified in going, and to see it go in those other directions just for no other reason than I can see, other than again beating that drama drum. I was done at that point, and at that point, then we were gonna have to.
Okay, pause. We are just under the 47-minute mark. They are going at 1.5 speed. So let's completely skip over and not note the fact that people that were on the show, former co-hosts of Non Sequitur Show, were showing up on the show when they weren't supposed to be showing up on the show, actively participating, deleting comments and deleting people from chat, not to mention the campaigns that they participated in against Steve, slandering him, lying about him, and your justification for not showing up to court is that Steve had super chats that were mean about Kyle, and he read them out, quote unquote, for the money. No, that money was put in no matter what. He didn't request people come in. He didn't ask for that. That would be what it would be for doing it for the money. Also, welcome, Boole. So, I want to know what harassment campaign went on against Kyle.
Yeah, and I don't even know how a harassment campaign. He said he wanted all that harassment to come towards himself, and it was going towards other people. Other people. I'm sorry, my first sentence was so disconnected. The other people, they got what they earned what they got. Sorry, they were culpable in the stuff that they did, and and some of it probably went too far, but the harassment that they got was just people asking them, what about Bull? Why are you streaming on this channel? People getting blocked left and right for asking just regular questions. And if he wanted that harassment, how was anybody supposed to contact him? Like, he completely disappeared and left everybody else holding the bag.
I think, the issue is he's claiming that Steve went after other people because of what Kyle did. No, people went after them for what they did. Right? So, Godless Engineer's wife deleting people or hiding people on the Non Sequitur Show channel, she got called out for doing that. Nobody said, hey, Godless Engineer's wife, it's your fault that Kyle is doing this. Nobody said that. What we said was, you're helping him, stop helping him, or why are you helping him? So this is just completely factually not the case. So we gonna go vote in the chat again and see if he gets any pushback on any of this.
Yeah, and if you guys were wondering the reason, it's I forgot. I didn't think about it because he doesn't remember it conveniently when he's interviewing Kyle. That's the reason why. By the way, we heard that earlier today.
There was a lot of excuses in the first half of when Jim was talking to Steve today. He said, "I'm not going to make any excuses," and then proceeded to make a bunch of excuses. I didn't remember. I didn't know about that. Was a lot of it. But that does not excuse this complete failure.
Yeah, even going in knowing nothing, you could have asked clarifying questions, but none of that was done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's negligent. And he also, when Steve asked him about, did you see those court papers that I sent you? I never looked at those. I was drunk. Whatever. Any excuse. He doesn't know anything about any of this situation. He's going in blind. He doesn't give a crap. So whatever harm that does to the community, it's fine. It's fine.
But
he couldn't care less about being ready.
Yeah, and keep in mind that Jim already said that none of the community or none of them should have any say in any of this.
Right, we shouldn't have any say because, he understands that's anything about the community. Anything. I think if you understood one thing, you would understand that we probably have some say, regardless of who you are, on what Kyle did.
Well, especially if you're putting in the super chats. It's a standard practice that you read out the super chats essentially no matter what they are, provided they're not like homophobic and transphobic or anything like that. You try not to allow those things to get through, talking about like trying to abuse the death of somebody, stuff like that. But if somebody wants to send a super chat in that says "fuck Kyle," that's not slander or defamation. That's not. That's just somebody voicing their opinion. So this is some kind of bullshit. So let's keep going. 46-53. Here we go. Let's see if we get any pushback.
Let the courts come in and decide on that.
It hurts my heart to know the realization that things are never going to be the same. I think the reality just hit me because this whole time I've been clinging to some sick sexual fantasy that, and both of you will hate me for even bringing this up, but this sick fantasy that the judge goes, listen, this petty nonsense, you two, Non Sequitur Show is both of yours. Share and share alike. Get along. You two babies play nice together and pick it up where it's left off. Both of you have access to the accounts. Both of you share all revenue, past, present, and future, and fucking start playing nice. And then it will be the court's way of forcing you all to make this right. And both of you have to swallow your pride. And I know Steve is going to kick my ass for even thinking that, but it comes from a place of love.
Here's my thing, Jim. Between the two of us, there's only one of us that's continuously going out trying to paint the other as a thief or a no good rotten scoundrel that is the problems to do with kind of like anybody that criticizes them.
Your fans are doing it just as ruthlessly as Steve's are.
Could be. I'm not talking about our fans though. I'm talking about Steve himself.
Okay,
Steve
I have to give you that one because
I can control what my fans do or Steve's fans do. Sure. I don't that's between them. But I know that I'm not.
Well, you went off the radar for months. People were worried about you.
I did go off the radar. The reason I went off the radar is for two reasons. Number one, I need to do it for me, but for number two, I'm not interested in capitalizing or trying to capitalize or trying to drum up some sort of a following or hammer my chest in terms of going after Steve. Because for me, I am in my with where I am at right now. Again, I did a lot of wrong in how I handled things, but I knew why that needed to happen. I did it the wrong way, but I knew why it needed to happen. And the reason why it needed to happen is the same things that a lot of people are seeing now with these other different aspects that are going on. It's a pattern of behavior. And I'm not here to rail off on Steve or whatever, but I knew what I needed to do at that point. I stand by that, and I would have done it again, but in a completely different way and broke things off, had, things signed in advance where everybody knew, where they stood on things. By the way, if you're thinking about starting a channel and you have someone else involved, get everything in writing, whether it be you're a partnership, whether one of you is in control of the channel, make sure that's written down and the other person acknowledges that, because it will save you so much.
Just under 50-20. Okay. Cajun Crustacean for 2 said, "Fuck off, Kyle. Full offense intended." Yeah, I think we agree with that. I think pretty much everybody agrees with that here.
Oh yeah.
So let's look about this for a second, because I think Jim needs to stop saying that Steve is gonna be mad, or Steve is gonna do this, or Steve is gonna do that. He's already trying to walk back the shit he's agreeing with. This is the second time he's done that. The other part of that is in part 1.
Yeah, he knows full well. I mean, I hate to say that, but he knows full well what he's doing here. And I mean, he had a prime opportunity to ask, "Hey, Kyle, what did need to happen? Like, what was your plan?" That's something I'd really love to know. And he even said, like, he set him up for it. And no, can't talk about that.
There's also this bit about one side is calling the other or trying to paint the other as a liar. That's because one side is. This isn't, I'm trying to paint you with this brush. You are a liar. You are lying during this interview. Hello? Like, this isn't like... What are you talking about? This is complete bullshit. Ilya Moon for 5 says, frack Kyle and frack this non-interview, but more of an arse-kissing stream. Yep, I think that's pretty much the takeaway from this for the most part. This whole interview is a whole lot of sucking. There's a whole lot of going on. And there isn't really any better way to put it. I could be meaner about it. I'm still being nicer than I probably should be, given the way he treated me. Jim, I mean, specifically. Only one person has stolen anything. Jim, stop presenting this as a both sides issue. There is one person responsible for this, and it's Kyle. Only Kyle is responsible for Kyle's actions. Oh, yeah, by the way, it all is in writing, which I would like to point out that Jim did clarify that he completely missed that Kyle said that there wasn't a deal in writing or it wasn't clear. So please note that this is the second time Kyle has said this and Jim says nothing about it. So it wasn't just he happened to miss it one time and it was kind of weaved in. No, he straight up said it earlier and now he's saying it again and now it's kind of weaved into another sentence.
Yeah, and it's really convenient because that's his excuse for everything that he did in this that might sound like he is just literally sucking balls the entire time, is that he just conveniently missed it.
He missed it or he didn't remember. Yep,
it just slipped his mind. Somehow when he's interviewing Kyle, everything about Kyle slipped his mind. And we're not supposed to take any kind of umbrage with that, apparently, because that's having the wrong tone.
Oh, yeah, sorry, let's go back to that tone. Jim, you completely missed this. And I'm really sorry that you missed it, not just on one occasion, but on a completely other occasion as well. To say that you completely missed it twice makes me concerned that you weren't actually listening to the person that you were interviewing, because this isn't an interview. It's just you dick-sucking. Bent Hoven, no relation, for 2. Kyle ruined the Seabad show. No! Kyle, you bastard. All right, shall we keep going?
Let's keep going.
Ba-ba-ba-boom!
We did use this as an example. This was early on. This was when the court case was just getting started, and the whole world was seeing what could happen to a channel. At the beginning of we only record our channel. We only record once a month, so it's like a 10 or 12 hour.
Oh, this part is such a waste of time.
A lot of spectators, a lot of people come in. We record 12 hours straight, and that's enough footage to last us for the entire month. That's how we do, with little sprinklings of stuff like this. But so at the beginning of one of the recording sessions, bright and early, I sat down.
Like this interview?
And I put
oh god, yeah, no, this is such a waste of time. This whole bit is just him explaining how.
He's the one that was going to pipe up and say,
Jim
"Listen,
is explaining how his own channel works.
Amplify on what you just said, or just have him there as an impartial.
Wow, what
so we
an
had him
interview.
there, and I just went down this list, and it was on video. There's nothing written.
Keep in mind that Kyle just
but we all agreed who gets what,
how do people,
what happens if someone decides to leave, who's in control of what, how our profits to be split. We went through everything, so everything's on video, and then I gave a copy of that to every one of the other hosts. So I hope our channels do that.
He's busy explaining how his
it's definitely necessary. Save yourself the and don't be naive enough to think that, well, either we're really good friends and that would never happen, or it will never be that big, because you definitely want to not make this mistake.
If the court...
Yeah, don't make the pause. Yeah, don't make the mistake, do a big mistake of stealing the channel from your partner, you dipshit, which again, Jim just lets slide.
Yeah, whoops. He messed up on that stealing the channel. But, leave it to Jim to just, oops, it slipped my mind. I totally forgot. The paperwork, I saw it, but I was drunk and I was seeing triple. Well, you were seeing 3 times the fucking paperwork, but you couldn't read one of them. Great.
Yeah.
Great work. Great work, Jim. Oh, and if you don't like my tone, you can fuck off. I mean, that's
Hey!
your mantra, right?
I mean, alligator skin. Don't tell us
Right.
how to do our channel.
Wait.
It's hostile, guys. It's hostile. And here's the thing. Jim, you fucked up. You fucked up by being negligent. You fucked up by being ignorant to the court case, ignorant to the situation, and you treated your friend like shit. You treated the community of Non Sequitur like shit, and you treated Boole like shit. And all of those people deserve an apology from you. And I mean a groveling apology. And I do want to know how exactly you're planning on apologizing for this. Because I want to know how you're planning on apologizing for this, because if this is the way you apologize to Kyle, what you've done here is way more damaging than just a couple of stupid memes. Even if you did mean those memes maliciously.
And I have a question. How the fuck is this guy Steve's friend? He doesn't know anything about Steve, didn't know anything about any of this situation, wouldn't read any of his court papers. He didn't care about any of it. And then he goes in here and it just slips his mind. Oh, he's my good friend who I don't remember anything about. Yeah, great friends, Jim.
Ilya Moon 42 said, "Oops, I just slipped into thievery. #hostile. Whoops! Whoops! I just fell into not paying Steve literally ever. Whoops!
Don't you hate it when that happens?
Failed at Engineering for 5 says, when one starts pointing out tones, that means they don't want to focus on the message. Wonder why. And Atheist Edge was the one screaming at Chesh on Steve's live stream. Yeah, I'll sit in line and wait for the succulent dick sucking I'm going to get.
I mean, tag me in.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
We're at 5203, and off we go.
Worst case scenario for you, judge says, I don't even want to talk about all the back money, because if I owed 60 grand, not only would I be a wet hen, it would be impossible for me to pay it off. So I'd be paying on that like a student loan for the rest of my goddamn life. So forget about the back pay, but just the channel itself. If the court orders you today, release everything, all the Patreon, all the side social media passwords, the channel, the records, the analytics, the financial records. Are you prepared to go ahead and do that?
Absolutely. To me,
absolutely,
the Non Sequitur show was a.
That's why you won't do
it.
it.
Thing when it was rolling, you know what I mean? I'm not tied to it in order to survive or for me to feel like I'm in any way accomplishing what I need to. I'm not saying Steve is, but there's a drive for whatever reason to get that channel. And if I'm ordered to hand it over, yes. I mean, I'm not going to not comply with a court order. I'll happily do that. And then I will move on. That will be the period on.
5326. I will not refuse to comply with a court order. Jim, where you at, bro?
No, this is part of all that paperwork that Steve, took the time to share with his friend, who then just didn't read it.
Would you provide the financials? Not why haven't... Your question is pathetic. Your question should be, why haven't you provided the financials? Why haven't you provided information with the channel? Why haven't you complied with the court order? Not, will you do it if the court does? The court already has. Jim, you're full of shit. Let me repeat. Jim, you're full of shit. If you didn't know this going in, I don't know how to help you. Kyle said he doesn't care. Kyle says he doesn't care about the channel. Kyle says that the channel is, oh, well, he could just go make his own. If it's so easy, why doesn't Kyle just go make his own, and why is Kyle still hanging on to the channel?
That would be a good question to ask him, had somebody been interviewing him.
Yeah, wouldn't that be convenient? All right, here we go. 5327. Let's see how Jim responds to this egregious fucking lie that we know is a lie because he's continuing to not do the thing you're asking him if he would do. Going.
That sentence. I don't have any sort of. I don't even know how to say it. I did what I thought we needed to at the time with Non Sequitur. Obviously, that chapter is closed. So me holding on to
well, how did it close?
A number on it that's not uploading any more content or anything like that is not something that I'm obsessed over.
Hey Jim, I got a question for you. Pause real quick. Hey Jim, I got a question for you. How did Non Sequitur's chapter close? You dense motherfucker. You want hostile? Let me give you hostile. You dense motherfucker. How did Non Sequitur's chapter close, Jim? You claim to be a fan of the show. You claim that you want everybody to be happy and hold hands and sing fucking Kumbaya. And yet here you are, having the chance to interview Kyle and talk to Kyle while he's like, oh, you know, it just happened to close. It was the end of Non Sequitur, you know, as if he has no fucking responsibility. You know that responsibility you were fucking talking about at the very beginning of this fucking video, Jim? How you cared. You care about Non Sequitur. You know so much. You were such a fan of the show. How did it close, Jim? And why are you letting Kyle get away with this? Negligent coward.
I agree. Now, where are you at in the video?
5403. I need to mod Red's rhetoric because he should have mods here. Boom. There you go.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, and off we go.
For each of you, I mean, to this day, I've never seen a live chat with 700 people in it, like back in the day, like back when Non Sequitur was at its height. And that's due 100% to the quality content, the right people talking about the right things, and it's rare in this community. This community is so divided right now and shit talking. We're not focused on what we should be. We're the worst. I'm embarrassed to be an atheist right now, a YouTube atheist. I'm embarrassed to be one. I'm embarrassed to be a part of this community with all the infighting and nastiness. The Christians are probably just looking at us and just dying laughing.
Well, the Christians themselves are eating each other. I mean, you've got G-Man going crazy. You've got Shannon and Rev doing their thing on like every community has a their sides, their cracks, and their their drama, quote unquote. And I think a lot of it has to do with the kind of people that you want to build an audience around. There are some content creators that have audiences that they go to that content creator for that specific kind of content, and that's whether it be educational or religious or what have you. And those content creators don't really get into the mix of the fray. They don't comment on the drama. They have their focus, and they do that. Those channels, if you look at them, they remain steady and consistent and focused on what they're doing. There's not a lot of excitement. There's not a lot of back and forth response videos, and he said, she said, and all this. The live chat's not kicking off and popping, but they're consistent in what their focus is and what their message is. So, in my opinion, you just have to decide which kind of content creator you want to be. If you want to be a content creator that has a focus, something that you want to see changed in the world, or you have a vision that you want to accomplish.
Where are the questions, Jim?
Whatever your goal is.
I can't help but think of Stephen Woodford.
Damn it, Jim! I'm a doctor.
Creators like Holy Kool-Aid, Anthony Magdamasco, people that just somehow are above all this.
Right? Oh, let's not forget when Holy Kool-Aid came flying into our
like
first
transgender females in women's sport pops up, and then before you know it, you are in the center, embroiled in the center of this culture war, and you did not want it, you did not expect it.
But do you see what happened in that case? What happened in that case was that you had an individual, Rationality Rules, who has, prior to that video being released, done content in having the backs of the LGBTQ community. He was actively an ally. I used to watch his content, before I even came out for being gay. I know that he was he doesn't have the attributes that were given to him in him. He didn't that video that he did was not to be transphobic or not to insult anyone that is trans. What happened with that though is it's a parallel to this and every other thing. There are people that see those things, see the opportunity to create a narrative, create a story, drive a wedge, be sort of the drama magnet for this. And it got speared up by we all know who. And from that point, it was, okay, I have to either choose a side now. And my whole thing is, you don't be the person that chooses a side. Be the person that sees what's going on from each side. You have your opinion, but you aren't interested in making one, canceling one, raising the other, or vice versa. Stephen got caught up in the middle of all of that stuff that distracted from his normal routine, and he had to, constantly be making, follow-up videos and all this stuff because one individual decided to take him out of context, say things that he said that he didn't say, and call him these names. And because it was an example and an opportunity for other people who may not be in the fray as much, they wanted a little piece of the action to get involved because they felt like this was going to be their way to get into the narrative, or I have to say this. That is the opening in the door. And when that happens, you have this happen because it goes in 9 million directions and it ventures away from what the original problem was. And if you notice, the people who were having those battles on Twitter were not Rationality Rules or the other person having a discussion. It was every other, either up-and-coming creator, some established creators, everybody that had no stake in it because it wasn't their video. They felt the need to get involved. And that's the problem.
There are professional atheist YouTubers, people that do it for a living, and then there's professional attention getters, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't even want to label Essence of Thought that. Stephen, of course, any rational person can see in his heart and know that he's a good, kind, decent person who doesn't have a anti-LGBT bone in his body. But also, by the same token, Essence of Thought, I can see in his heart too, and he's a good person too.
Pausing.
And just
1 hour 15 minutes. I can see inside of Essence of Thought's heart and he is a good person. Kyle was not naming this person. Even Kyle was like, yeah, no, fuck that guy, though, because of his behavior. But no, Jim knows. Jim knows what's in people's hearts. He knows. Everybody just needs redemption and to be forgiven. You know, and seek that apology and seek that redemption and try and make amends. And Essence of Thought is a good person. I'm sure that's great. I would love to see you try and fucking justify that one. David Page for 2 said, if Jim was lying, what may have been his goal? His goal was an excuse to not have to actually have accountability with anybody that was actually going to take him seriously and actually talk to him like a fucking adult.
And also, he says he knows people in their hearts and those people need forgiveness. Well, I think that maybe he should do the stream where he finds the people banging on his windows and forgive them. I'd love to see that.
Yep, this is all just excusing shitty behavior. It completely excusing shitty behavior. He's concerned that, oh, everybody is infighting. Everybody is saying fuck Kyle. That's not infighting. That was literally the Christians, the atheists, a good number of them. A lot of the activists didn't say a whole lot. People who were agnostic, people who made memes, people who didn't make memes. Fuck Kyle! This wasn't like this was a consensus of the community. This wasn't, oh, the community got split down the middle. This wasn't, oh, there were people on both sides. Stop, what are you, pulling a Trump with Nazis? Both sides. Ilya Moon for 2 said, frackin' arslickin' liar. What the actual fuck? Sorry, it took me a second to read that one. Yeah.
I just don't know where he gets off. He doesn't, like, he went on, then he goes on to Steve's channel earlier today and explains to us about how he, like, everything just slipped his mind.
Well, that, and, no. I'm the Essence of Thought, good person, but I'm too hostile.
Yeah, we're both too hostile. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he never named me, so I guess I'm good.
Yeah.
But then again, we did say you would leave and he could come in.
Yeah.
So he has got no freaking excuse for not showing up in here.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, he's trying to come up with them, because he's a coward. Failed at Engineering for 5 said, why did Atheist Edge slide into a situation when he did no homework or research about it, trying to be all sanctimonious and self-righteous? Fair question. I don't know.
I think he might have either done it for the drama that he pretends that he was going to get drama one way or another. So if he wanted to avoid that, he would have never done this to begin with. The very fact that he did this means he doesn't give a fuck about drama one way or another. And the other thing is that he's at the very beginning of this, in the first half of the video, he brought up, who did he bring up? Atheist, Mr. Atheist?
Oh, Mr. Atheist and Shannon.
Yeah, he wants to ingratiate himself into their warm whatever and have them talk to him again. I heard Steve say something to the effect of, if anybody who thinks that that Jim would do this doesn't know Jim. I don't know Jim. See, that's the thing. I came to that conclusion on my very own. And anybody else who watches this is going to think the same thing. And when I say it, it's not to insult him. I'm just letting him know, hey, this is how you're coming across. But, who cares? We're hostile.
No, I'll go the step further. I'll take that step. I'm already being accused of being hostile. I may as well do it. So I'm going to go ahead and say that this was a dishonest interview. It was lazy. It's detrimental. It's drama pushing, and you had ulterior motives. Jim was not altruistic doing this. This was not to actually make amends with people and to build bridges. This was to virtue signal to other YouTube atheists who have big numbers. He's the one who brought them up. He's the one who was complaining about his 8,000 viewers, etc., etc. This is irresponsible. This is cruel to your friend, somebody who you think is a friend, but we'll get to your definition of friend later. You did this for selfish reasons. selfish reasons. You did not consider the fans, you didn't consider Boole, that's for sure, and you barely considered Steve. You doing this is in fact taking advantage of Steve. You're taking advantage of Steve's good nature and how kind and forgiving Steve actually is. Because Steve is going to be nice to you, and he's going to try to be amicable with you, and he wants to be your friend, even though you are treating him like shit during this entire thing. Complete trash.
I mean, you can't even remember anything about him. You talked to him straight to his face, telling him how you forgot everything that you told him. You wouldn't even read his documents.
You didn't care enough to read the documents for the court case he's been embroiled in for months that has harming his revenue. The people who are you're interviewing one of the people who's been actively trying to harm his reputation. You are virtue signaling to people who have actually tried to do damage to the channel, as well as, which was your friend's revenue, your friend's job, your friend's property, as well as tried to slander him. None of which, and not only did they not apologize to this day, but have refused to do so and called the entirety of the Non Sequitur Show fans, the people you apparently care so much about because you cared so much about the fucking show, that they were all trolls. Jimmy Snow blocked everybody, remember? We went over that. He said that he wasn't sure, then said, oh yeah, no, I remember reading that, then got it wrong about what it was. Me and Steve read that live, on air, on a caffeine corner. And I'm about this close to going back to finding that one and seeing if Atheist Edge is in the chat.
In the chat, not learning anything about Steve.
Or commenting. How is this person your friend when you go ahead and have this conversation with somebody like this, and then not getting anything right and not doing any research, even to just refresh your memory. That doesn't mean like massive amount. You don't have to do what I do. I put a lot of work into my shit. I pay the fuck attention to the things that people are saying to me and the things that you're saying here, that this, that, and the other thing. The shit that's being spewed right now is factually incorrect. And the excuse that you're giving to not being dishonest is ignorance. You didn't know or you didn't remember. That's negligent as fuck.
And I don't think it flies when you're talking about stuff that happened to your friend. Mm-hmm. If my friend was negligent, you wouldn't fucking be my friend. And yeah, you don't like this town? Get the fuck out.
Yeah, it's one thing to not remember specific details. It's one thing to be like, oh, I don't remember this specific thing, or oh, I didn't hear this one specific thing. Jim, you didn't hear this entire fucking interview. You didn't listen to a word Kyle said. You were just here to bloviate and posture for yourself. That's it. That's all you did. Gobble, 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 gobble. Nom, 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 nom. Alright, let's keep going. Essence of Thought is a good person. That's where we left off. I wonder how, especially given the person who shows at the beginning, I skipped over this because I didn't really want to necessarily like make a bad situation worse for him. Noel Plum did kind of like a general intro for Atheist Edge, and I wonder if Jim asked him if it was okay to put it on this interview, and I wonder if it was okay for how he feels about having himself tied to this interview, because if I was him, I would want to be taken off of that. But
how much would you want to bet that he wasn't asked?
Oh, yeah, $50 billion. Can I bet the Non Sequitur Show? All right. Let's keep going. We are at 1 hour and 15 seconds. Here we go.
It's like My Name is Earl and the 12-step, and what I'm trying to do right now, I would hope that maybe he tries to seek some sort of redemption as well, because I think he wronged Stephen in a big way. Yeah, I hope he does that.
I can't make any comments towards whether, because I don't know Essence of Thought personally. I only can comment based on what I saw, the accusations being thrown out, the names that were getting, or the labels that were getting put on individuals. And I think that, or at least I hope that if he looks back on that situation, he can kind of see where doing that was a huge detriment and took away from the good work that a lot of channels were doing, because they were wasting time with allies arguing with other fucking allies, people who champion the other person's rights on the same side.
How
We're
does
battling it out. You had
Kyle
people
say,
who were
like, the things that
who
Kyle
supported
says
trans
during
people, having
this
to
are
defend the
better
fact that they
ethics
were
than the
not a
ones
trans
Jim's
folk. I got
holding
called
to during
homophobic
the
because I
interview.
defended. Yes, that tweet is still up. That tweet's still up. This is what I'm saying. Like, this is the level of like fuckery we have reached for whatever reason on the internet. And
at the worst,
can't stop.
at the height of my vitriol towards you, my juvenile, impetulant vitriol towards you, when I was thinking completely with my heart and not my head, it just so happened
Like
that
you're doing
coincided
right
with
now?
a campaign that I think was being led by, come on, help me out, with against the Steadfast Baptist, the NIFB church, and there was actually there were big YouTubers actually physically showing up at NIFB protests at churches, and they were doing great things to raise awareness, to show that these are hate mongers, bigots. It was during that time. I'm so embarrassed to even bring this up because it's such a big regret of mine, but I took that opportunity to hijack a lot of Jimmy Snow, Mr. Atheist, Shannon Q. I hijacked a lot of their important messages that they were sending out via Twitter, especially. I would completely irrelevant. Like, they're talking about the NIFB protests, and I'm using that platform to hijack that message to, hey, but why are you going on? Jimmy? Why do you keep appearing on Non Sequitur Show? Answer for that, like a fucking idiot. So not only am I just rerouting the conversation to fit my agenda, I'm taking away from that important message, and that fucking, I don't know how I'm ever gonna atone for that.
And pausing. We're at 1 hour, 3 minutes, and 7 seconds. I agree with Jim. Hijacking other shit a lot of the time is not cool. However, you didn't hurt their movement. Jimmy's actions and Kyle's actions hurt their movement. People being pissed at them and not wanting to go along with whatever bullshit they were doing hurt their movement. And can I please point out the irony of Jim sitting here apologizing for some memes because people were upset about Kyle that he made, and sucking him's dick real hard and fast. Or I guess gently and softly. You don't want to spook Kyle off, you know. You want to be friends.
And of course, he's got to bring back up Mr. Atheist and who was the other one?
Shannon?
He's apologizing again. Like, well, he's apologizing to them for the first time, I think, but like they're not going to listen to him, right? So he's apologizing through this.
Yeah, I guess so. Can we keep in mind remember the tactics that they were using? I didn't get involved with the NIFB pumpkin shit because I was like, this is not the way to go about this, because you're essentially the ends justify the means, and I don't think this is a positive way to go about this. The pumpkin thing was making fun of somebody's sexuality by saying they were sexually attracted to gourds, and memeing on them and hijacking their streams and hijacking their stuff and going and protesting, kind of. So, like, I think they ended up doing a protest actually physically at their place, which is fine, but they were also hijacking streams and hijacking Twitter threads. They were doing the exact same thing you're saying that you shouldn't have been doing. So what standard and what redemption are they going to be asking for from the NIFB, I think? I don't remember the acronym, from that church. Or should they not, because you feel like they were justified? No?
Well, you could have had a point, but you used the wrong tone. Sorry,
Oh,
no
shit.
point for you.
Oh, shit! Oh, I'm so hostile. Oh, no. Bring your torches and pitchforks as we, have a conversation about the things you're actually saying. This is torches and pitchforks right here. I'm gonna be glad that this is gonna be the last fucking time I talk about this. Glorious. Hijacking streams is, trying to hijack shit to try and talk about other shit is douchey. I agree with that. You should probably not do that unless they're talking about something that is relevant. Remember, Mr. Atheist did a call-in show with Kyle, and then blocked everybody for asking stuff about Kyle. You're also talking about Mr. Atheist, who was hijacking and trying to hijack streams in chat and Twitter stuff to quote-unquote protest NIFB, so I don't see how that's any different. So why is one okay and not the other? Sounds a little bit hypocritical to me. But hey, what do I know? Are we ready?
I'm ready.
Ba-ba-ba!
Jim, you You just acknowledge that it happened, and like what you just did, and say that you regret it, and then you move on. You have to like the biggest, or I think the most regretful thing would be to do is for people like yourself or anyone else to, in not only this situation but any situation, if you spend so much time, like my advice is to move away from it, like break away from this whole entire thing. You acknowledge what you would have done differently. I've acknowledged what I would have done differently.
I agree.
And let's move the fuck on.
You
Focus
shouldn't have
on
done
what
this.
is
You should have
important.
said, "Oh, sorry,
don't
Kyle,"
worry about,
and then moved
atonement.
on.
Because in some people's eyes, you're like mine. It's not even a thing of atonement, and in other people's eyes, you'll never ever until the day you die be able to atone enough. And so you have to stop worrying about the pleasing those individual people and getting
it's
back
not to
what
please
you
them.
do.
It's to get it right with myself. Because
bad.
you're
That
right.
was the word.
There's
Yeah.
some
Oh,
people
it's
that are never
not.
gonna
It's
be happy.
not. I'm not doing
And
this
you-
pausing, and they're at 1 minute and 40 and 4 seconds. Sorry. This is not to please other people. This is just for myself. This is what I mean. You're full of shit. You are full of shit. You're doing this for, yes, selfish reasons, but not just for yourself selfish reasons. You're suggesting that you're only doing this because you want to find redemption with Kyle. You want to make right with yourself about this. However, what you're doing is bringing up people and situations that are irrelevant. If you wanted to apologize to Kyle and make right with Kyle, you could have done this, one, without Kyle. You could have done this alive and been like, oh, hey, yeah, Kyle, I'm sorry, da-da-da-da. If you wanted to have a conversation with Kyle and say, hey, I'm apologizing for this thing, and I just wanted to have a brief conversation with you to make sure we're cool, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, you could have done that, and it would have been 20 minutes long. But no, we've got an hour and a half of you sucking his dick. Why? I don't have to put a Brazers logo on this. Why are we sitting through watching this? Like, why did you make this public like this? Why are you bringing up other YouTubers that you specifically said, oh, well, they're probably never going to talk to me again. And, oh, well, I'm so unforgivable because I made some memes. Oh, well, oh, victim. Oh my God, woe is me. These people won't talk to me because they're assholes. Because let's think about that for a second. If they're not going to talk to you because you didn't agree, you didn't toe their party line, you talked to Steve still. You made memes about Kyle. They didn't want to talk to you because of those reasons? You know what that kind of makes them? Kind of shitty people. Especially when we're not talking about, oh, you made these awful, you, like, did, like, I don't know, sending death threats. If you start sending death threats, yeah, nobody's going to want to talk to you. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about you made some memes and we're kind of, about it. But these are not equivalent. These aren't equivalent to why they should stop talking to you. You're claiming a fracture in the atheist community. Steve's not an atheist. And the fracture in the atheist community didn't happen because of non sequitur. The fracture in the atheist community happened because you've got people who are not holding to their own standard and who block anybody who calls them out on doing that, even if it's not hostile and even if it is just trying to have a conversation about it. That's why you have a fracture. Are you seriously suggesting in this interview, and again, it's still not an interview, and if you wanted to make an apology, it should have been an apology to Kyle, not an interview with Kyle. If you wanted to do this, you needed to do this in a way that didn't throw Steve under the bus. Because you've agreed with Kyle that was 50-50, in that, like, oh, there was a split, and, Steve is responsible for this, and Kyle's responsible for this, and Steve should apologize for this, and Kyle should apologize for this, and everybody can hold hands and sing Kumbaya. And now you're suggesting that the rift in the atheist community happened because of that. You're putting the 50% of the blame of the atheist community infighting on somebody who's not an atheist, who has not been part of those communities for a long time because they treat him like shit, who's apparently your friend. Do you know and understand nothing about social hierarchies and social norms? Do you pay attention so little to everything that's going on? I don't care if you want to comment on shit. I don't care if you want to have your opinion. You're welcome to do that. But at least fucking inform yourself. You're the one who was talking about being fucking responsible for the shit you put out, so take some fucking responsibility for this shit. Kyle is right here.
Yeah, and he's probably wanting to talk to those other guys because they'll talk to him in the tone that he likes.
Oh, no.
Yeah, because we're just so
I did it
mean.
again. Oh, I did it again. Oh, I
Yeah, I'm
did
sure
it
he'll
again.
cry about this too. I'm sure. I mean, we might get like a reply video about, oh man, so mean, they talk to me so mean.
Steve thinks he had good intentions. I'm starting to question that with his behavior. Not with necessarily the interview, but his response to criticism. His response to criticism makes me question that his motivations weren't entirely altruistic. And I don't know whether or not he knows that.
I have something to. I was wanted to talk about that when we first started, but
Yeah,
I
go ahead.
went ahead and let this. But that's exactly right. I think. I mean, think about the very first thing that you saw about this video. The very first thing that came to you was him being defensive about the video.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't anything else. He was already in defensive mode because he knew what he had done, so he was already putting his dukes up. He was ready to go. And then as soon as somebody got froggy, and not even froggy, as soon as somebody put up even the slightest like thinking that they're not going to back down from him, getting in all box stance, he immediately starts going on the offensive, and then he's stayed there ever since. And as soon as and when you came into the stream, I don't think he got all flippy because of your tone. I think he got all flippy because you were about to just tear the shit out of him.
I think Steve needs to apologize to me for implying that I was the one being hostile in that situation.
Yeah, I think that's that. I mean, for as far as I'm concerned, I mean, I might be biased, but I think that Steve owes you an apology for embarrassing you in front of so many people, unnecessarily. If somebody was to have thrown a tantrum like that, I don't give a fuck with my best friend. They're just not coming on my channel anymore. That's not what I'd want to be about. But instead, he's like, you know what? I'm gonna make my number 2 go away so I can coddle to this fucking baby, which is all he is. I don't give a fuck if he's Steve's friend or not. He's a fucking child. And I would not cater to that. Catering to bad behavior just makes more bad behavior happen.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. And I think my issue I would take with Steve in this situation is not that he had Jim on. That's fine. But it was okay for him to be hostile towards me. I did not escalate this situation. I spoke louder. I did not escalate the situation. And I was incredibly kind to him in the DMs. And I was incredibly kind to him in the first half of this. He went sideways. And he went sideways when I immediately said, that is not what was said. This is what was said. And then I spoke louder. And then I called him a liar because he was completely misrepresenting the situation. And that's why I said, I will pull up the fucking DMs. And that's what I read to you guys. And of course, he got all huffy, threw a fit, started yelling, swearing, and carrying on, and left the call. I was not the hostile person in that situation. Was I straight? Did I speak like this? With purpose? Like no bullshit? Yes. Did I throw a tantrum? No. Have I had people talk to me in a no bullshit manner? Of course. Has Steve been like, Chess, shut up? Yeah. And what do I do? Okay, finish what you're saying. It's not the end of the world. Have Steve and I had flat out disagreements where I'm like, what the fuck are you saying? Yeah, of course we have. Bullshit. Why is it okay for him to do it and for me to not even get that far? It's not okay if I do it.
Yeah, apparently that's acceptable behavior for Jim on Steve's channel.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. And here's the thing.
So,
we accepted him being hostile. He said, well, I can be hostile too, even though we weren't being hostile. Well, I can be hostile too. Okay. I don't care if you're hostile. Come on in. You can come in swinging. I don't know. Whatever. This is YouTube. I'm okay with that because I'm not a fucking child. Don't pretend that this is a double standard and this is why you're a hypocrite. Sorry. This is kind of a double standard and this is why you're a fucking hypocrite. All right. Are we good?
Okay, I think we're good.
Let's see. We are at 104.14 and go.
You know how the far extreme left can be. They can be as bad as the far extreme right. They're never going to let it down. They're never going to forget. They're always going to hold a grudge. And and apologizing can make it worse in most cases.
Keep in mind this, Jim. This is what I always say. I don't really do like apologies or whatever, like my personal life. And I tell people this is because like they're just words that anybody can say. My thing is action. Like I will show you if I'm genuinely sorry by correcting that behavior or trying to make up for that. And so I would, if I were you, this is just my advice. Like like the atonement part, set it aside. You have a job to do, and that is putting out and spreading.
1 hour and 5 minutes. Did you catch what Kyle just said?
He doesn't apologize through words. He does it through action.
So, and yet he's been like, oh, I'm sorry to the non sequitur fans, and oh, I'm sorry about this, and I'm sorry this happened, and I would do it another way. And what action has Kyle been taking?
Fuck you, non-sec. Fuck you, Kyle. Fuck you, fans.
Jim! Pay fucking attention when you're interviewing somebody. Pay attention.
I think he might have forgotten that the non-sec existed. Whoops, slipped his mind.
Whoops. This is not a matter of you needing to know what's going on outside of that Kyle has the show and has been apologizing for it and hasn't given it back. This goes, he is directly contradicting his, he is holding a standard that he is not acting by, or he is acting by it. He is not apologetic, and you can tell that by his actions. This is where you should be stepping in. This is what you should be commenting on. This is the shit that is important.
And if Steve was your friend, this is probably where you would stand up for him.
Probably.
Let's see if that happens.
Oh, yeah, all right. Yeah, let's see if that happens. By your actions. Let's find out.
The message that you have, because it's a good message and it gets out to other people. If you focus on that and acknowledge the biggest thing you've already done, the hardest thing for most people to do is that they acknowledge that they've done something wrong in the first place. It's getting them to say, hey, I fucked up in this case. I fucked up, yes, but I'm not going to sit around and I'm not going to, beat myself up about it or say, it over and over and over again to appease these group of people. I'm going to say that I did X, and then I'm going to get up and I'm going to keep kicking ass in my mission and my vision and my drive, because those actions are the best way to make up for anything that you feel, wherever you in life you feel like you've misstepped. And there's a newsflash, we've all done that. It's a rare thing to have people acknowledge that and then move on. Just do Jim and get that message out there and leave this shit behind because you've acknowledged it, and there's nothing more that sitting around and trying to explain yourself or whatever will do. But your message, getting that out, will do something. And so that's the route.
Thanks,
I would take.
That helped me a little bit.
Sure.
I have 2 more points I have to get out before
Sure.
we end, and of course I do plugs too, so don't let me forget if there's any plugs. I'm going to tell you what the 2 are before I even ask you that first one. The one here is where I'm going to beg you to make the court case go away and to just give Steve everything right now. Second, then I'm going to end.
1 hour, 6 minutes, and 41 seconds. Tell me if I'm mistaken, but did not Jim say during his talk with Steve that he had forgotten and didn't remember about the majority of that stuff?
Yeah, he did. He said, slipped my mind up. Why didn't I ask about that? Well, apparently he begged for him to give it back, but I mean, that must have entered his mind and then slippity away again.
So he knew he was going to be asking this question, because remember he said he took notes. So, took notes apparently. So I don't know how a lot of this slipped your mind and you did no research when you had taken notes. But earlier in this, he claimed that, oh, well, if a court orders you to do this, will you do it? What do you mean if, Jim? You knew for a fact, as is here, as you're just saying here, that you knew this shit. You knew that Kyle was not doing this. You knew that he was not being amicable. You knew this, that, and the other thing, which completely goes against the way you've presented your questions to Kyle thus far. And now you've gone on to Steve's channel to explain that, oh, well, I must have let that slip because I had forgotten about it when you asked this question later on in your interview. Do you have the mind of a goldfish?
when he was talking to Steve, the interview just slipped his mind.
Womp womp. Womp womp.
Yeah, this is just sad.
This is pathetic. How
can't believe-
awkward is it when you fuck up something in the first half, then you try to explain it away by saying you've forgotten the second in the intermission with because that's what I'm gonna call that, the intermission, where he goes and says, "Oh well, I forgot about this," and then in the second half expose that no, in fact, you didn't forget about this. It came up later. That's awkward. I don't really know what to think about that, but you know what? Tell you what, I'll let chat decide. I'll let the viewers decide. You guys can fight amongst yourself about what you think this one means, because this is like a super warp warp moment.
Yeah, it sounds like he just lied straight to his friend's face.
Maybe. I don't know if this is I don't know if that was a lie more... Well, he might have lied out of panic, not out of maliciousness. Just to make himself sound better, kind of like the way he was talking about the conversation in the DMs that we were having.
Oh yeah, you like to make that sound better. And a lot of times in this apology, he keeps referencing himself as being so altruistic and stuff. He really likes to pump himself up when he talks, so it probably has a lot to do with it.
That was interesting. Let's see, where are we at? We are at the 1 hour, 6 minute, 41 second mark, and we are going to go ahead and hit play. I feel like I'm probably going to be stopping this really quickly after this, just because there's a couple of, like, boom, boom, boom points in a row, and then we'll probably let it play for a little bit longer. So just a fair warning. And off we go.
Thanks.
With making sure you're right, that your head's right now, that you're not going to like try to open up a couple veins in a warm bathtub anytime soon, and that your head's good, and that you're in a good mental frame of mind. So first thing, the non sequitur show still exists. I think the Twitter's been deleted. I think it can be recovered. Right now, I don't think any permanent damage has been done.
It hasn't been deleted. You just clarify
And
first.
pausing. 1 minute, 7 seconds, and 14... Oh, sorry, 1 hour, 7 minutes, 14 seconds. I don't think any permanent damage has been done. I'm going to give Jim the benefit of the doubt again, because I'm a nice guy, even though I probably shouldn't. I'm going to assume he just meant on the Twitter. This tells me that Jim does not understand how Twitter and social media works. Every day that something does not get posted on that Twitter, and every day that that Twitter is not in Steve's hands, this is detrimental and causing harm to that Twitter account. One, because it's not growing, because it's not being active. Two, it's not getting any there's no visual on it because it's been deleted or it's been deactivated. Kyle corrects him and says that it's only been deactivated, but there are some things about Twitter that make that doesn't really matter. The damage is being done. This does not include the damage to the brand that Kyle is doing by commenting in people's channels, on other people's channels, using the Non Sequitur Show name. Don't forget that that's happening.
And from what I heard, a deactivated Twitter account gets deleted after like a month?
I've heard that, but I haven't confirmed that. So I'm not 100% sure how long that would be, or whether or not it's actually going to be recoverable after a certain amount of time before the tag gets taken or gets made available again to people. I'm not 100% sure. That is yet to be seen. But this to me is like this is not Jim does not understand the amount of damage that is being done currently, and the amount of damage that's being done to Steve psychologically, and anybody else involved with the show, like Boole, the fans. This stresses people out. And Kyle is the one causing that damage. Because as Jim said, you could make this go away. And he knows he could make it go away, but he's letting Kyle sit there and act as if, well, it's just something that happened and I have no responsibility for. You know, that responsibility thing, again, that Jim was talking about at the beginning. And
his mind's just so slippery. He just slips his mind. Oops, didn't ask about that. Oh man, totally just made a mistake. Oh man, totally just made a mistake. I mean, you only can buy that for like one or two things, but when it's like the whole entire freaking thing is a mistake, just fucking delete it.
Yeah, I would honestly recommend to. I would honestly recommend to Jim. My first impression of this when I saw it the first time, if Jim had asked me my opinion, had sent it to me and asked me my opinion, I would have told him to not post this. I would have said, do not post this. Don't do it. This is going to be bad for you. It's going to be bad for your reputation. It's going to be bad for Steve. It's going to be bad for Non Sequitur Show. It's going to be bad for literally everybody involved except Kyle. This actually makes Kyle look pretty good because, I actually have to agree with him. He makes some decent points. He's not wrong about a lot of this stuff. But due to some twisted idea of ethics or of some kind of, I don't even know what to call it at this point, of twisted ideal of redemption, a lot of this sounds incredibly like a religious ideal from Jim. But it
might be convenient altruism. Like, oh wow, when I need it convenient for me, it'll just come out. But when it's not, I'll just start cussing out, my friend's co-host and make her leave. But when it's convenient for me, I'll make sure I always talk about how altruistic I am on everybody else's channel. But when it's not, then fuck it.
Well, I do find that's a good point. I also find it interesting that again, he's the one who messaged me to come on. And he is the one who got hostile in DMs, or threatened that he was going to be hostile, or I can be hostile if that's what you want. I don't give a shit. I don't care if you're hostile. He could have come on here swinging, screaming, and I would have been like, no, okay. If that's how you want to be. That's what I was like on Steve's channel, too. I was just like, no, but okay, I'll leave. I offered. I was like, no, it's fine. I'll go. I don't give a shit. Let me just get my questions out. I'll just bing them out really quick, and you don't have to answer anything right now. I'll just boom, 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 boom. And off we go. We got a super chat for 2 from Kent Hoven's cellmate. Hashtag justice for Boole. Yeah. Yep. We should get Boole's opinion on this at some point. I would love to see that. He is more than welcome to utilize my channel if he so chooses to do something like that. That'd be great. Sorry, I'm just looking at my notes for a second.
Yeah, I'd like to hear Bull's opinion on this too. I don't know if he could come in right now, or maybe at the end.
Yeah, there's a, he can come up. Boole, if you're in the chat, I can send you a link to come in if you want. We're in the last bit of this. You can join now if you would like. I don't know if you've even seen the whole thing, but if you want to comment from here onward, I'd be more than happy to have you show up. Don't message me on Discord. Message me in here because I have to actually move Discord around so I'll be able to see it. Just so you're aware. All right, and off we go.
Delete it.
It is just deactivated.
Oh, deactivated. Okay. I didn't think any permanent damage has been caused so far, so that's a good thing. Is there a way?
Wrong.
Because you said Steve could have just picked up where he left off and made something similar to a Non Sequitur show right off the bat instead of doing all the drama. By the same token, do you think you could just because this court case could be over tomorrow? Steve would drop all charges if you were to send him all the passwords, all the financials right now, atone for it. I'm not speaking for him. I don't know if the court case would be dropped, but I think it would go a long way towards extending that olive branch. Let's just say, for sake of argument, give him everything right now. Apologize for everything you've done. Hope that he apologizes for maybe some of the things he said about you as well. Maybe we can, I'm not saying you're going to become friends again. I guess I'm not that naive anymore, but just hand over everything right now. Ask that he drops the court case. You start your life and your brand right now. If you started from scratch, it would be a winning show in no time. Could that happen?
In
Pause.
a
1 hour, 8 minutes, 39 seconds. What the fuck does Steve have to apologize for?
That would be a good question. He could ask himself.
The fuck does Steve have to apologize for? For keeping the Non Sequitur Show fans updated? Because that's drama? Remember what Jim's rule number 19 was? Don't tell other content creators what their content should be. This is just drama, though. It doesn't seem to be drama when Jim does it, though, even though it's all just about him talking to Kyle and sucking his dick and virtue signaling. This doesn't count as drama, apparently. Why?
Well, if it's anything like his altruism, then those rules are probably just convenient. When it's convenient for him, those rules apply, and then they don't when it's not.
I think that's called being hypocritical.
Yeah.
There is no excuse for this. Because as he said, he already knows. And then he also claimed that he didn't watch his friend's content, so he had no idea what he was talking about.
Yeah, didn't read his content, or watch his content, didn't read any of his papers.
And assumed. He assumed. Okay, let's take Jim at his word. Let's take Jim at his word that he did not know, didn't realize about the teen drama stuff, just kind of went along with it, and was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, doing drama sucks. You didn't... You assumed that Kyle was telling you the truth about Steve's content. Agreed with him, and then told Steve, you said, Steve, listen, I'm gonna tell you this thing. You need to stop doing drama shit. The fuck? Your shit is contradicting, Jim. You said you didn't want... You said, oh yeah, no, I agree with you, Kyle. Doing drama is shitty. And then you said to Steve, hey, yeah, no, you shouldn't do drama on your channel. Then you went on to Steve's channel and said that, oh, well, I wasn't really watching your stuff. I didn't realize that's what he was saying. So I don't really know if that's drama or not. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then here you are calling it all drama again. Which is it? You are saying a lot of different shit here.
Yeah, plus I'm not sure why he's like accepting the opinion of his friend from someone who knowingly stabbed him in the back.
Mm-hmm. And is continuing to withhold the money and the shit maliciously. And we know it's malicious because Kyle said it's malicious.
Yeah, it's not like Kyle did something back in the day, and now you're going to bring him here for, because he needs redemption. He's going to apologize for it. He's doing it now. He did it while you were talking to him. He's still doing it. So you can take all your apology nonsense and shove it right up your ass.
And Kyle already told us that he doesn't do apologies like this. He does it with action. So what's the point? Jim, you're full of shit.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. There's no way it makes any sense except for you brought him on for the drama, for the clout, and for the virtue signaling. That's why he's on there.
Some sense of self-righteousness. And I mean twisted. Like, this is... To think that it's self-righteous to... I agree with Reds. What honor is there? What nobility is there? What good intentions are there to sucking the dick of a thief? You're treating Kyle and treating this interview as if nothing has happened. As if there is no responsibility. The responsibility is solely on Kyle. Only on Kyle for this. Kyle's the one with all of the shit right now. Steve has done nothing. What the fuck does Steve have to apologize for? For not just laying over and not starting a new non sequitur? He's your friend, isn't he? Don't you know why he didn't start a new one? Have you had that conversation with him? You're the one who has the opinion that he should be doing this. You had this opinion presumably before. At least you present it as if you had this opinion. Oh yeah, Kyle, I agree with you. It'd be great if Steve stopped with all this drama stuff and actually went ahead and did non sequitur stuff. Well, great. Give him the channel so he can do non sequitur stuff. Or on top of that, if this was your opinion, why haven't you spoken to Steve about it so that way you had a better understanding when you were doing this interview with Kyle about why that may or may not be happening? Because you clearly don't understand shit. Like, you are vapid. This is beyond ignorant. You are vapid about this situation. Not just this situation, but how social media and branding works. Maybe that's the reason you're fucking stuck at 8K. Asshole. Alright. You ready? I don't know what Steve has to apologize for. Can you think of a single thing that Steve needs to apologize for in this situation?
Probably his tone.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. Yep. Steve, your tone. I don't like your tone, man. Get out of here. Alright, here we go.
In a far-off utopian world, maybe. And I don't. It's a fair question for you to ask, and I completely understand why you did that. I'm going to explain in my opinion of why that couldn't happen. And people can take it for what it's worth. Again, it's just my opinion. It will ultimately be decided by courts. But the basis, I'm actually fighting, and I filed a motion to keep the court case open. That's number one. I don't want him to throw the court case out. Like that wouldn't be an option on that aspect of it. I wouldn't give the channel over to Steve like willingly because one big reason I alluded to it earlier, and then in my response to the court order when I handed over like the packet of financials, I outlined in detail and in PDF format and everything, every aspect of that show that wound up being a couple thousand pieces when it was all said and done. The graphics, the layouts, the music, every little detail was pieced together meticulously in some cases. And after extensive like me for weeks trying to put together a brand look, that is my entire like heart and soul put out in an image or branding.
You're claiming an intellectual property there.
Well, I'm not claiming in a legal sense. What I'm saying is, when you look at that show, when you look at the visual aspects of it, the music, all that, like that came from me, and the vision that I had for what I wanted the show to look like. I don't want that willingly linked now to whatever would. And here's why I say this in all fairness. That show, like the way that it looked, the quality that it kind of.
I'm gonna pause
real
real quick because I'm gonna jump in on something real quick, and then I'm going to let him finish what he's saying. He seems to think that if we were taking over Non Sequitur right now, we would be using any of his shit. Boole and I both exist. Boole and I are both going to be part of the show. You really think we're going to be using Kyle's shitty aesthetic? Fuck no. And yeah, his response to the court was literally that he was claiming intellectual property on the aesthetic of the show. So Kyle is lying, Jim didn't read the paper, or he was drunk when he read it, excuse, and he just takes Kyle's word for this. And Jim is also ignoring that Boole and I exist, and that we've publicly already said that we had no interest in using the nun, and that we're going to create a new aesthetic for the show. So, good job, Jim. Good shit. And moving on.
Was purposeful. That was a way to sort of like show that there was some seriousness behind it. When I say Steve could now be trying to do a Non Sequitur show type show with his channel that he's doing now, but he doesn't. If he got the Non Sequitur channel tomorrow, it would be the Google Hangouts layout like it was always. The the steel card from the Great Debate community that folds into the show, like the pieces that made the Non Sequitur show,
right?
Wouldn't be paid attention to.
Okay.
And
yeah.
If he cared about those little things, he could be doing that right now. But still, you have generic thumbnails that are pulled off the internet, just straight slapped up there. There's no pride in putting off a like the Non Sequitur show, like what that entailed. And so if I handed it over, it wouldn't be the Non Sequitur show we're used to. You're saying? No, it would be just like the Steve McRae
because Kyle drove it into the fucking ground with shit content. Remember?
Right now, as it stands, the Non Sequitur show is an archive channel. Neither one of us uploading any content. It being the way that it was, it's locked into a look. There is no altering. There is no sort of messing with or things going downhill or uphill or whatever else. Yep. It is what it is. And so when go ahead. I was just gonna say when you spend that much time, hours every day, putting into something like that, you're not willingly under any means going to just say, here you go, do your thing.
And pause. Right. All right, so that's 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 41 seconds. And there we get the real reason, or one of the real reasons why Kyle doesn't want to give the channel back over. Because he is Non Sequitur. Because the shit about that he thinks was important for Non Sequitur is the artwork. As if we're going to use that artwork. As if that we're not going to go in and change the fucking aesthetic for shows that were previous. Those are going to be locked in anyway. So his reasoning is bullshit. Complete bullshit. I literally do fucking art. I helped do fucking art for fucking Non Sequitur show episodes. Bitch! Hello? The fuck am I? What is happening? And let's be real here. Can I point out real quick? I'm gonna make a real touch in on this real quick because Jim didn't do any fucking research, and I'm gonna tell you before we get there. Kyle shills a SoundCloud that he's got that's got free music on it for everybody. The profile picture that he is using for that is my art. I made that. He put my art inside of a astronaut suit. The picture that is of himself in the suit, I did that by hand. Oh, but it's all Kyle's aesthetic, though. It was all Kyle.
Yeah, but you should butt out, right?
Well, if Kyle's... Oh, right. No, it has nothing to do with me. I'm not related. I'm not Steve or Kyle, so I shouldn't have a say. Here's the thing. if Kyle's artwork is so good and his aesthetic is so important to his branding and to the way he wants things to look and run, why the fuck is he using my art? If his shit's so good. I don't mind that he's actually using it. I don't have a problem with that. He can use it all he wants. That's fine. I don't have an issue with that. But the fact that he's saying this and using it when I'm actually probably going to be the one doing the majority of this. Have you seen my thumbnails recently? They're fucking hilarious. I got goblins everywhere. Come on. Come on now. And I'm going to go ahead and say, I'm better at art than Kyle is.
I would agree.
About it?
And I don't think that art is like that's. I don't think it's a very disingenuous reason. I think it's just something he kind of pulled out of his ass and like it's one of the things he found to complain about. But it's not like that's not why he's holding on to it.
No, it's to do as much damage to the show and to Steve as possible. It's malicious. Because he's clearly not doing anything with it, and now can't. And when he tried, it flopped. He's butthurt. He's super butthurt about it. And he's being a petty little bitch. And Jim is assisting in him being a petty little bitch. And allowing him to justify his actions. And agreeing with that justification. He's Remember when Jim was talking about validating trolls? That's what Jim is doing here. He is validating trolls and perpetuating drama by just sitting there and letting Kyle say whatever he wants to say. He's complicit at best and active when he's actually actively agreeing. Because I also want to point out that Jim completely misrepresented something that I had said. Because he's sitting there nodding and not saying anything, and then he didn't listen to the other half of what I said. The other half of what I... Whoop. Sorry, hiccup. The other half of what I said was that he then verbally agrees. Oh yeah, Kyle, ... And then explain that he agrees. So bullshit. Okay. I just wanted to get that out there because I know Jim didn't do any actual fucking research. Moving on.
Hope not.
I can see where you're coming from. I think a lot of people would say, well, visual appeal, graphics, all the bells and whistles, that's a small slice of the pie compared to the good quality programming. It's booking the right guests, it's asking the right questions. So there's that, and
they're all important.
Yeah, visual. Well, I agree. Not to say that Steve might just be kind of in idle right now, waiting to get the show back before he explodes with something pretty incredible. Who knows? As far as visual appeal,
it hasn't happened for 8 years. What's he waiting on?
Yeah, visual appeal. There's a show called In Time. Nicholas, I don't know how to say his last name. It's French. Suter. It's Suter? Okay, yeah. Well, Courtney, one of my co-hosts, is now a permanent co-host. He took Ansgar's place, so she's over at In Time now.
What happened to Ansgar?
They had it.
I'm going to pause real quick because this isn't that important. But we're at 1 hour, 13 minutes, and 46 seconds. Nick says his name anytime he introduces himself on a show. He says, "Hi, I'm Nicholas Lamar Suter." So I just want to point that out real quick. That's kind of a little bit silly. For him not to know that's how, especially how he gushes about In Time, and the fact that even In Time, every time he introduces himself at the beginning of the show, he says, "Hi, my name is Nicholas Lamar Suter." So I think not knowing how to say his name is kind of sad, I guess.
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, I guess it's
bizarre to me.
It is what do you call it? Consistent, because he doesn't know anything about his friend, and therefore he doesn't know anything about In Time. It's like, favorite show or whatever. So it makes perfect sense.
Goldfish, got it. All right, as in $400 Suter. I love that. I love that. Okay, moving on.
You'll find this phrase familiar. They went separate ways. They had a difference. They had creative differences.
Well, does Ansgar get pieces of time in perpetuity?
I don't know if in perpetuity has been mentioned. I really don't know how much. I watched the goodbye. I watched Nicholas's goodbye.
Kyle tried to steal the fucking channel.
Doing this gig, I don't get to consume
disingenuous
other people's shit
asshole.
as much as I used to back when I was just like that. But that's a really great layout. I love that In Time layout.
Yeah, laugh about it too.
Shit. How about this? And Steve didn't put me up to this. This is Jim talking. I wouldn't like the prospect of us having to write.
Did you pause for that out of curiosity?
You have that prospect hanging over your head. It could happen.
Yes, I can pause whenever. No, I didn't. Oh, you're asking if I paused when I went on my little spiel there? No, I did not. I paused now. Okay. I'm at 14:46. 1 hour 14.
All right, let me catch up.
Yeah. This is incredibly disingenuous by Jim. Jim has this whole time acted as if he didn't know or just allowed Kyle to spin whatever narrative he wanted about how the show split up and justified by Kyle, and he went along with this. And Jim has been going along with it, and he exposes himself right here by saying that he knows that they split up for not good reasons. Otherwise, he wouldn't be laughing about why this sounds familiar. Steve and Kyle did have creative differences and different ways they wanted to do things, but they could have done that amicably without anything bad happening to Non Sequitur at all. So there's the issue, right? This is not a comparable situation because the way Jim laughs, and I don't mind him laughing, that's kind of funny, but the way that he presents this is as if it was the same situation. It wasn't just creative differences. It was Kyle actively shoving Steve out of his own show. It's not as simple as creative differences. It was Kyle never paying them for months and refusing to have conversations and for treating Bull like shit. The whole time. I don't even mean not just paying him. Or ever like saying like, oh hey, Bull's Patreon is this, or oh hey, let's promote Bull a little bit, because he didn't do any of that. But he treated Bull poorly, period. By calling him 5 minutes before a show and being like, and then asking him to lie.
But he remembered it when Steve asked him, and it just like came back into his mind because it would have looked really terrible in front of all the audience that he had if he'd forgotten about Bull. But he forgot here conveniently so he could, keep sucking the dong.
Yeah, this is very, I think this is very just disingenuous way that Jim presents this. Moving on.
He has the most convenient memory I've ever seen.
That was to go away. And Steve doesn't know I'm asking this. He didn't set me up. What if, hypothetically, he took that off the table?
Steve is irresponsible
the back pay
for this
goes away.
at all.
Just give me what's mine now. Would you be willing for that kind of compromise? Like, you don't owe him anything, and I couldn't write a $60,000, nothing close to it. I would be in debt up to my eyeballs for the better portion of the rest of my life. But if that went away, you just gave him everything right now and let him start from scratch with the viewers that the NSS still has, but you don't owe any back pay. Would that be an option?
No, because I'm confident enough that I can prove that there wasn't an agreement, and that I have conversations, the MCM, like back and forth. I have the proof, what I think is the proof, to show that I was the channel owner, I was making the decisions, and that anything that we had, in terms of payment was something that was, whatever, based, like I said earlier, I tried to give him the 50% of each video that he was in at the end. But I wouldn't take that because I feel like I can prove
gracious enough to give him
that's not the case.
give
And
him
if he
a
can't.
portion of the shit that
And so I would be willing to take that,
even though he
definitely
owned the
take that
channel.
chance in a court. 100%.
Well, this is set up to look like someone's going to lose big.
100%.
And I don't want that to happen. I want, well, you know what my sexual fantasy is now, so, and it's never going to happen.
Ew.
You need to yell more, Jim.
Okay, Kyle.
I
You just
agree.
hear, Jim
Get
mentioned
out
this
more,
right off the
Jim.
radar. Everyone was worried about him. It's turned out he had a myocardial
This is
infarction,
just
and
a
no one knew about it. He basically
diatribe
almost died
about
in his living room floor.
Majors.
And it was a scary time. And he
How-
showed up
look
to our
at
Atheist Christian
how-
book club
this-
in person,
this is
and we all freaked out, and
essentially
we hugged him, and then we
gonna-
jumped in his ass for
I'm
not
just gonna-
responding. I sent out snail mail to
just
everyone with
gonna-
his last name in his
Look at
hometown.
how good of a
Just on the off
person
chance
I
that
am,
someone was related to
everybody.
them.
I
Get
went
back
to
us.
go help
And there's
Jim
people there, and a
Majors.
big, huge thanks to these people. They're, a core group
We
of
were
people
all
that,
worried about
have
Jim.
continuously, when I was going through my stuff, looked out for me. Everybody reacts to different situations differently. YouTube was never anything, I don't want to say important enough, but like, it wouldn't make me go to a level where I wouldn't want to live anymore. Like, no one, like, I've been able to walk away just fine. Like, for me, it wasn't the losing the
I don't know
me
if I
being,
agree with
on
that.
the computer, or because if I wanted that, I could be, I get probably 6 invitations to, come on and talk to this person, that person, whatever, a week. Like, I could be doing that continuously. Instead, I've done maybe 3, and that's because there's a huge part of me that feels like there are those core group of NSS viewers that I should be, at certain points, putting information out there when it's necessary or when there's an update. In this case, I've always liked you. I've always, we've already gotten along well. We had a great time in Dallas, and so I wanted to come on to show you that I'm not here to milk an apology or make you feel like you're some horrible person, because you're not. I thought this was important enough to come on and say, I fucked up, you fucked up, we all fucked up. We just admit we fucked up, and then we kind of go on from there. So when I say my mental state was in a dark place, it's the there are levels to people that not even I thought were capable of, that or places that people go or people bring up.
Oh,
or
you
that
mean like
people threaten
stealing
things
from
or
their
family or your
friends?
friends or whatever. That to me turned me off to the fact that I just don't want to be on the internet anymore and be talking to people who are capable of those sort of things. Like if that's what exists out there in those capacity, in any capacity, the fact that I was getting a couple messages a week from these people was enough for me to be like, you know what? For me, I've been depressed before. I've gone through spells where I've had anxiety attacks, all that sort of thing. And I know now that you get one life, you only get one life to live. I don't want to spend a day more than I have to unhappy or stressed out or in a dark place. And so at that point, I need to be like, you know what? I need to remove YouTube from it. It was great while it lasted. I did a lot of cool things. I met a lot of cool people. The people that watch the show, some of the best people in the world. We had some of the greatest fans, and I wouldn't trade one day of it. But at that point, when that was happening, I had to acknowledge that I did what I needed to do. I need to move on. Like I don't need to keep chasing after with the show dying or whatever. That's my mark, my cue to bow out. Thank you for the time and go do something else. I got plenty of time to do plenty of other things. And so I'm not sad about it. Like I don't have any sort of triumphant return, or I'm not interested in building my reputation like some people say whenever I come and do these shows. I acknowledge that it was a great point in my life that we had some high times, obviously some low times, and thanks for the ride. I enjoyed it, and I'm going to the next one.
The two things that kind of set my mind at ease is seeing your social media posts, your subsequent ones. So you have your pets, and that brings me my pets bring me a lot of joy for my PTSD. It's good therapy. So seeing you, the way that you're showcasing your dog is really, it makes me feel great. Yeah. And your newfound budding, I guess you have a new relationship, and wow, he's on there a lot. So, I mean, it must be very special for you. So seeing those two factors it affirms that Kyle's in a good place and he's going to get through this. So I think about that. I think about Steve a lot. He's under a lot of pressure himself. He's got so many fucking haters. And gosh, damn it! If I was under that kind of scrutiny, I don't know what I would do. He's handling it better, way better than I could have. That's for sure.
I do just to comment on the relationship thing. I have been. We're going to come up on a year here soon.
Oh, wow.
But the irony of that is, he himself is a Christian. You have an atheist. Yeah.
Shit.
So
see, that would make a great recurring series right there.
Sometimes we have the non sequitur show in the living room.
Now put that on camera. That's what people want to see right there. Can you imagine?
That's interesting.
Because I know other couples. One of the guys in my local atheist group, he's married to an evangelical. He's been married to her. They just hit their 50th wedding anniversary.
Yeah, you know what? Though? Like it's never been a thing that because we made it a point at the very beginning that this was something that interests us both. We're not going to let it come in between us. Like I respect his right to believe whatever he wants to believe, and he respects my right to not have that belief. And in turn, at dinner we have some of the best hour-long conversations. Where some couples are just talking about who got voted off The Bachelorette. We're talking about original sin, and so for me you
do realize that you're sitting on a gold mine, Kyle. I mean, that right there would make that would be the start of an incredible channel, an ongoing series.
Again, I had my fun in YouTube world.
Okay. All right. Sorry to plant that seed in your head, but all right.
No, I appreciate it. There's just everybody's just wired differently. I mean, there are some people who would never be able to just leave.
Pausing real quick. We're at 1:24:12. I hope everybody noticed the bullshit hypocrisy that Jim just pulled. He went on this whole thing saying that drama's not good and you shouldn't do shows around drama, or at least Steve shouldn't. And yet here he is trying to say that Kyle should capitalize on his relationship because of the drama of it.
It's because his views are all very convenient. They just come and go when they're convenient for him. Because that's the way it works.
I think yeah, this is disgusting. This needs to have, I feel like I should have censor barred this whole thing. My goodness. I don't know whether or not that if I would be justified in saying that Jim is a liar when he says that he doesn't want to perpetuate drama. I don't know if I'm justified to go that far in that case. I am justified in saying he's a hypocrite, and I am justified in saying that he does not hold consistent standards.
I think that the correct way to put it is he likes to say he doesn't want to perpetuate drama. Because that is consistent. Nothing else is.
Oh, gotcha. I'll let me know in the chat what you guys think.
Walk away with YouTube, like take Brett King, for instance. He has his time ended 10 years ago, but he still continues to talk and act like he has that same original following that he had at the very beginning. And I refuse to be that person. I refuse to going back be like, hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Kyle Curtis from Non Sequitur TV. Make sure you follow my blog, Games You Love, and then whatever stupid subject it is. So that's my model. I don't want to be that. So I'm going to go out early and be like, it was fun. I might be back from time to time on.
I'm gonna go out early, you know, while I'm on top.
Do your thing on YouTube, and I'll watch. I'll be a loyal fan and subscriber, and you know, cheerlead you from the sides. But
That's a great way to end it. I would ask you for plugs, but it looks like you have you're in a healthy place and you've decided to kind of unplug from
I will say
the limelight.
I will say, can I plug one thing?
Yes.
I'm still making music. It's free for anybody.
I did what? I listened to a couple of your mixes. They're really good.
Thank you. Awesome, thank you.
Now see, I'm not fully recovered asshole yet. There's still asshole inside me. So when I clicked on the first audio, I disregarded how good it was, and my first thought was, man, Kyle should be spending more time on his court case because he's about to get fucking rocked in court, and now here he is spending all his time making music, and that's such an asshole thing to think.
Pause. 1:26:01. Why is it an asshole thing to think when you see that somebody's doing something else, when you're concerned that they should be working on something else that's more, maybe a higher priority?
Well, because I think he was thinking or saying that he couldn't focus on the music because he was worried about Kyle. I don't know.
It sounds to me like he's equating saying that, hey, it's important that he should be working on this, not doing this thing, with saying, oh, I thought your music was shit as soon as I heard it because you're Kyle.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't even know why they're talking about this.
I don't know why that would be.
Except
I don't know why this is an assholey thing to think. To be concerned about a court case for a show you apparently loved but don't know anything about, over this person making music, which, by the way, demonstrates that he could have, goes against his motion, that he can't say that he was unable to respond to the court case because he usually, oh, I was sorry, I didn't respond to the court case, I was busy making music.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just more convenience.
Yeah, this is not, he is bloviating to Kyle about something that is completely, this does not equate to this. This makes no sense. And the whole time you're being an asshole to your friend. I'll point that out real quick. Alright, we're getting right to the end of this. We are almost done.
In some certain aspects, that may be correct advice. In my defense, though, the music has been sort of like my decompression. Like that's been my therapy. Like when you're getting in and you're putting those things together, it's sort of like a calming effect. But you can
Where
go
can
to
they find that?
SoundCloud.com/audionaut. That's AUDI0NAUT. And it's everything's free. You don't have to pay for anything. Just go on there
free,
and
so
listen.
everybody, if you want to go get stuff from Kyle, and
besides, there's no face-to-face interaction. I just upload some music and then I walk away from the day. There's no arguing or debates, and life's good.
Damn it, Kyle. That's really good to hear. I'm no longer naive as I was an hour and a half ago, but I do hope for the best possible outcome for both of you.
Maybe a not like a reunion like 10 years down the road. You know, we won't do anything.
Damn, please. That would make my life. Well, no, I'm being hyperbolic, but I mean, that would really be a fucking cool thing.
I'll go on record and say that.
Look at how excited Kyle gets about this.
Come to the table on that meeting, and you know, for the fans' sake, to give something to the fans. I'm not gonna. I don't hate Steve enough to not give the that sort of thing back to the fans. So I think that in all honesty, the way we ended was abrupt, and it really wasn't fair to the people that followed the show. We didn't really give the
but I'm not taking
ending to the show
responsibility
like
for it.
if we were professional as we should have been, and sort of to our audience, true to our audience as we should have been. We should have given them a last show. We should have given them something to look back on and be fun about. So I regret that. And if given the opportunity and the things, everybody was, I would be willing to do that for the fans because I think they deserve it.
Steve Steve never wants to see you face to face again, but he's influenced me in big ways throughout these last couple of years. And I would like to think that I've influenced him. And I'd like to think that
real quick before we get into Jim's last words here. This isn't about the fans. Because if it was about the fans and Kyle cared about the fans, he would act in that way. He's the one who said that. He's lying because of his actions. And that's the thing that Kyle said in this interview. Without knowing anything that's going on, those things contradict. But apparently Jim has the mind of a fucking fish, goldfish specifically, and doesn't remember what Kyle just said. And now he's asking... Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, it's not even that he can't call Kyle out on things that he, of some slippery mind, has forgotten. It's that he can't even call Kyle out on the things that he contradicts himself.
Yep. What would that mean, a 10-year reunion between Steve and Kyle? And I like how Jim immediately blamed Steve for why that wouldn't happen. It's Steve's responsibility. that wouldn't happen. Not Kyle, Steve. Because Steve's unamicable about the situation. No reason why. Can't imagine.
I mean, Kyle is still actively stabbing Steve in the back as he says that.
And the
But no,
fans.
it's Steve. Steve, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, it's still Steve.
What Jim is selfishly asking Steve to do here is to play nice, sing Kumbaya, and hold hands with somebody who stabbed him in the back, stole tens of thousands of dollars from him, stole the channel, refuses to give it back after a court order, is dragging him to court, bragged about it, and has assisted in helping other people try to slander Steve as much as possible and do as much psychological, physical, and monetary damage to Steve as fucking possible. But Steve should be the bigger man and, come and sing fucking Kumbaya with him. Just for Jim. Just so they can have a 10-year reunion. Do you have any idea how pissed off the Non Sequitur Show fans would be if Steve did that? Bullshit.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Kyle's actively trying to make Steve suffer, and you're like, oh, but a 10-year reunion would make me so happy. Don't you care about your fucking friend?
Maybe he'd like a 10-year reunion with those two people that were banging on his windows.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Let's let Jim have his final words, and then we'll wrap up and give our final thoughts on this.
Well, we're not done after that. We got to go over the
influencer
chat.
in the future to maybe pull something like that off. That would be really fun.
Well, yeah.
Let's get through this. It's
Yeah.
gonna get worse before it gets better. But thank you so much for coming on, and I hope all the viewers see why I had Kyle on and can understand my motivations. So thanks so much. Thanks so much, Kyle.
Absolutely. Take care.
And
Okay. So that was the last of that. I'll see if I can pull up the things. I'm on my other computer, so I don't know if I actually have the notes of what was actually said, and we'd have to click through to actually get it. So I'll check real quick, see if I have it.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring it up if you couldn't do it.
No, it's okay. I can try it at the very least. If Jim actually does have any sway over Steve, I seriously hope that Steve reconsiders his friendship and reconsiders his options after seeing this and maybe looking a little bit at this this situation. Yeah, damn, I don't have it.
Yeah, going from this to
I
he
did.
said to Steve, straight up, and then, coming back to it after the fact and looking at it, I don't know how you can get out of just conveniently, just lying to everybody right in their face. Like, everything seems to be so convenient when he can, when he remembers stuff. It's also convenient. It's so obvious that this is all all completely self-pleasing. Get what I can out of the situation, shit. It's disgusting, and he'll never own up to it because I'm using the wrong tone.
Oh, right, because that's not good enough. Look, there's my thumbnail down here. Cute.
All right, before we start this next thing, I need to take a quick break.
Yeah, go for it. Godless Scummer for 5 says, "Is Kyle calculating that he'll be out of prison in 10 years?" Question mark. Good question. If you guys have any questions, ask me now. I'm going to go through these. I do have a question. I want to know why this was released at midnight. Because this, to me, makes it seem like that you didn't want anybody to see this. And I want to know... I can't imagine why you wouldn't want anybody to see this. But, there's some things here. And I'm going to quickly over here, before Mr. Sirius gets back, I'm just going to show you guys real quick. 21 commandments. Thou shalt create quality content. Thou shalt upload regularly. Thou shalt have alligator skin and ignore trolls. Thou shalt not constantly beg for likes, subs, and donations. Thou shalt continually strive to improve production quality. Thou shalt think with thy head instead of thy heart. Thou shalt not perpetuate drama or rumors. Thou shalt never delete, ban, or censor opposing viewpoints. Thou shalt admit when you are wrong and never double down. Thou shalt attack the ideas, not the person. Thou shalt... Oh, you mean like, the, not the tone? My question for Chesh is, am I as drunk as I think I am? Probably not. Failed at Engineering asks, Steve needs to apologize to Chesh. and that she does not trust Jim Hall. Perhaps. Thou shalt not recommend a book, article, study, or video during a discussion. You aren't explaining your point very well if you have to recommend a book, plus it's condescending and presumptuous. I don't know if I agree with that one. 12. I would love to see you in a debate with blank. Thou shalt shut thy fucking mouth and form an independent thought for once in your life. 13. Thou shalt not bring up a separate/bigger problem to minimize or discredit the problem I was originally talking about. Thou shalt not come on my show, talk for 2 hours, let me spend 5 or more hours producing the first 30 minutes of raw footage, then conclude that you think your arguments weren't strong enough and decide to pull the plug. The exact thing that Reds was concerned you were going to do and run off? So it's okay for you to have that stipulation, but nobody else. Got it. Thou shalt never tell anyone to educate yourself. If you are unwilling or unable to educate them, you shouldn't be having the conversation. Thou shalt immediately lose all credibility if you resort to name-calling. Thou shalt not test people. Hey, Jim, you're an asshole. I'm name-calling you, asshole. I see if that hurts my credibility. Thou shalt not test people by asking them if they are familiar with a particular concept. Arrogantly putting the other person on the spot to purposefully try to make them look ignorant tends to backfire spectacularly. Thou shalt not Snowflake place, apparently. Thou shalt not send a link to an article or study without noting the page number and relevant paragraphs. I agree with that one. Please, if you're citing something, cite it properly. Thou shalt not tell a content creator they should switch to a different format, style, or set of topics. Quote, Christians are boring. You should only interview atheists or scientist experts from now on. End quote. Sounds great. Now go start your own fucking channel and do exactly that. Yeah, interesting. 20. Unintentionally, bracket, offense can only be taken, never given. Clutching your pearls and fainting on your couch does nothing to strengthen your argument. 21. If you have raw footage and you are not sure if it's worthy of release, when in doubt, put it out. And they've recently added one, didn't they?
What about number 20? I seem to remember him not going by that one earlier today.
Let's see if I remember the new one that he added. Number 23. I didn't see number 22, but number 23. The hosts of the show immediately disengage from any and all open hostility towards them. We will not take part in creating drama. This was only added 21 hours ago as of a couple hours ago. This was posted yesterday. And this was posted yesterday in response to me.
See? His rules are all convenient. He didn't have a convenient rule in place for him to follow and not follow whenever he wanted. So he had to add this one, so now he can follow and not follow this one at any time he wants.
Also, 23 here contradicts or conflicts a little bit with number 3. So you might want to figure out how to phrase this in a way so that it doesn't actually... or at least define hostility and define alligator skin, because you seem to be saying that, oh, you should be tough and be able to take criticisms, but as soon as anybody pushes back on you, you throw a fucking tantrum, and then you call it open hostility, even though you're the one who threatened to be hostile. And apparently, let's see if I can pull this up real quick, I was noted as I was getting off and switching, because I didn't hear it, at about 45 minutes and 23 seconds, give or take, on his conversation with Steve, Jim was saying that he was about to threaten me with violence. Huh. How noble of him to not do so. So let's take a look at some of these comments, because of course I pay attention to everything, so I was watching the live stream, and that's why I made it available, so you guys can see, and you can see the timestamps. I'm expecting a bit of fallout for this one. Why is that? Our show is about building bridges and not lobbing fastballs. And this is where I'm going back to, you didn't throw any balls, you sucked on them. And I'm also going to go with building bridges doesn't mean what you think it means. Being amicable doesn't seem to mean what you seem to think it means. Posturing friendship is not actually friendship. To go ahead and say that you can treat Kyle in this way, and in doing so, there are consequences. Your actions have consequences. Your actions have consequences! When will you learn? You are choosing to build bridges with Jimmy, Shannon, trying at least, by your words, and Kyle, by sacrificing your bridge to Steve because they won't deal with you unless you're doing that. But no, we're the ones who tell you who you can and cannot have on your show. Nobody has a problem that you had Kyle on. If you take it that people have issues because you had Kyle on, you've missed the point.
No, the issue is that anybody in this community, no matter who it was, if they would have delivered that performance, this is the same video we would be doing, except for we would have their names in our mouth. That was fucking garbage and insulting to the entire community.
Anyone says anything, you mic drop, old man Dan comment, go atheist, whatever. He quotes have alligator skin, so he doesn't quote the whole thing. And so I want to reference this specifically. He says, because the whole thing is quoted, have alligator skin and ignore trolls. So that could be phrased to go together in that you should have alligator skin against trolls and only trolls. However, here he is quoting it specifically to have alligator skin, as in to be tough and be able to take some of the shit people say. I want to specify that, so this can't come back later. No. That's what it means. You can't wiggle out of this, because this is exactly what you're saying. I'll listen to constructive criticism. Unproductive hostility, not so much. The irony is, I doubt they do this in person. Keep in mind, who do you think they is referring to? And what open hostility? He's the only one in those DMs that threatened hostility. We said that there was going to be harsh criticisms. Harsh criticisms are not necessarily unproductive or not constructive. Bullshit. And the reason I know that he's talking about us here is that he references me and Reds later on. I'm kind of liking the pre-recorded, lately. I can cut out the restroom breaks, getting more beer, barking dogs, etc., LOL, and edit out all the unentertaining formalities at the beginning. This is not candid. And you've admitted here that it is not candid. You know it's not. Fix your title, at best.
Well, putting candidate in there was just so convenient.
I just don't know why you would...
It's a convenient title.
Yeah, why would you say this is candid? I don't understand why you would put that in there. Like, it's not... I don't know what you're trying to present. It's misleading to the audience and what they think they're going to be clicking on, because it's not an interview and it's not candid. It's with Kyle. Is it candid? Is it?
That's true.
Before you all start calling me a cream puff because of this interview, nobody's done that. I did it for me, not Kyle. I had some things I needed to account for, and I did make it clear on 3 occasions that he did wrong, though. Kinda. You also said that you didn't agree with what he said, or what he's done, but you also condoned his behavior by allowing it, and you allowed him to put blame on Steve that is not Steve's to hold. You made it clear that, no, I don't think it's right that you stole the channel, but, I can kind of see why you did. What? And nobody's calling you a cream puff for this. Nobody's calling you soft for this. People are calling you a coward, and are gonna call you a coward because of your behavior after this. This person named Shirt Son. I like your name, good person, male or female. Shirt Son is a great YouTube handle. That's beautiful. Wait, why are you interviewing the jerk-off that stole Steve's channel? Yeah, that's a fair question. At Shirt Son, please see Atheist Edge Commandment number 19. Do we remember what 19 was? Thou shalt not tell a content creator that they should switch to a different format style or set of topics. That's not what this question is asking. This question is asking, why are you interviewing him? Not, you shouldn't interview him. Answer the question.
See?
Why are you interviewing him?
His rules are so convenient, they can just fit in anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
He could have just said Rule 11, and it would have been just as fine.
I know it's a rare thing in this polarized climate, but believe it or not, there are still a few atheist channels out there who seek to build bridges and keep the lines of communication open. And I made a note here that says, oh, you mean unlike the people you're virtue signaling to, like Jimmy, who blocked anyone from asking him anything, and Shannon, who to this day has refused to take responsibility for what she said about the topic publicly. Stick to your own standard there, Jimbo. Failed at Engineering for 5 says, Jim wants to talk about the atheist community. Jim Hall lost all credibility with this atheist me. With herself. She's referring to herself. I'm very surprised Steve isn't in the chat. He's not happy with the way I conducted this interview, but our friendship is plenty strong enough to withstand it. Steve hasn't said anything publicly about this up to this point. Why are you speaking for him and perpetuating what you know will be drama with this content, and arguably outing him if he did say this? Also, this implies that he is not supporting you in some way by not being in the chat. What the fuck? How selfish are you? And why should Steve show up and watch you sucking somebody who stole the channel, stole tens of thousands of dollars, treated him poorly, treated the fans poorly, and is still continuing to this day to actively do harm to Steve as much as possible and be in the live chat for it? Why should he support this at all? What is your fucking expectation here? You're an asshole. You're not just an asshole, you're a selfish asshole. This person asked a question in reference to Kyle. Trying to spread the blame, and you can double check the time code that's on here. It's 8 minutes and 51 seconds. If you if you think I'm taking this out of context, go check the context that this this comment was left in, because again, this was a premiere, so it was happening in real time. There isn't a delay. Trying to spread the blame is dishonest to me. There were other problems behind the scenes, but that doesn't excuse his actions, referring to Kyle. They responded, I'm not spreading the blame, I'm taking responsibility for acting like a child when the shitstorm began. So starting this shitstorm, I will wait for my apology from Jim for being a child. So he completely ignores that this is about Kyle. Completely ignores and makes it about him and doesn't actually answer the question. Shocker. Atheist Pastor said, I don't like him trying to blame Steve when he caused the situation. Much more respect if he owned it. This is about Kyle. Although this is an amicable, anodyne interview, I do make it clear on 3 separate occasions that I think Kyle did Steve wrong. You don't know what the word amicable means. Also, trying to be amicable is not an excuse for not giving pushback. If you really wanted to help Kyle, you would be giving him pushback and trying to help him, and you're not.
There's only one person he was helping with that interview.
Himself? LOL, nah, my co-host Courtney is dividing her time between this show and In Time, which is on the fast track to be the next Non Sequitur show. I read this comment and I got really, really confused. And I got really, really confused because how in the flying fuck is In Time anything like Non Sequitur? Not that I dislike In Time. In Time is a very good show, but how in the fuck is it going to be the next Non Sequitur show? This tells me that Jim does not know or understand what Non Sequitur is or was. Or doesn't care. Or both.
And probably doesn't understand what In Time is.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, he doesn't know how to pronounce the name of the host.
And he doesn't know anything about the situations that his good friend, is going through.
Talking about Kyle, what you did was wrong. The only reason I have these scribbled out is because they're not important. I left them visible so you guys can see that I wasn't taking anything out of context or skipping anything, but this was responding to something about pizza that's above it. What you did was wrong. I agree, but I also want to set an example for how to go about voicing disapproval in an amicable fashion instead of juvenile shitposting. Fucking what? You want this to be the example? Do you think this is the way interviews should be? Amicable or not? The fuck are you talking about? What the actual hell are you talking about? You want to talk about here? Let me give you an example. Fight the Flat Earth did a discussion debate type thing with somebody named Sunny. They had a conversation like adults. They called each other stupid once in a while. They said when each other had good points. They had a proper conversation and called out bullshit when they saw bullshit. That was amicable. You can say, hey, no, this is bullshit, and still be amicable. You're not being amicable. You are riding his dick. You are cock gobbling.
You know what the best part is, or best and worst part, is that he knew that it was garbage when he was like, sending it around before he posted it. But then as this premiere was going on and he was writing this, apparently he thought this was the shit. This was the standard that everybody should hope to achieve. He hit the pinnacle. He is the best interviewer.
I have the best people. I do the best interviews. I have a good time with the Donald Trump impression. We are one of those rare channels that doesn't block, ban, or censor anything, bracket, except illegal speech, end bracket, a pure marketplace of ideas, until somebody comes to talk to us about what and put our views up for scrutiny. Then we run away like little bitches.
Yeah, he did not show up. He could have. We begged him to. Even Chesh was willing to leave. It would just have been me. It would just have been me.
Some shows focus on drama as their main source of content. It's not how I want to do business. But hey, who am I to judge them? I have no problem judging Steve.
No shit. In the interview that you're putting that comment about on, seriously, how bad is this guy's memory?
This is amazing to me. This is at 1 hour and 11 minutes and 36 seconds. Hold on, I dropped my notebook. I wrote down the time when he started talking about drama. Let's see how close it is. Let's take a look here real quick, and we'll take a look here and see what we got going on. 1 hour, what is it? 1 hour and 11. 1 hour 23:13. You're encouraging Kyle to make a show based on drama. And called Steve stuff petty nonsense at about the 47-minute mark. 32 minutes and 13 seconds was talking about the Teen Mom drama. So, yeah, he had already been saying that Steve shouldn't be doing drama on his channel a couple of times before he made this comment. I guess he's just assuming that everybody would forget that that's what he was exactly doing to Steve. I'd rather stay at 8K subs and keep trying to repair the broken atheist community than 100K subs and slinging shit for a living. Superficially, singing Kumbaya together is more important than ethics, standards, and how someone is treated.
Yeah, he's
That's
kind of
what he's asking for.
He's like, look at poor little me. I'm just a little guy. I'm the noble one.
Well, I've got a smaller channel than he does, but he doesn't act like that with me. He's 8 times larger than I am. 8. So, I'd rather stay at 8K subs and try to keep trying to repair a broken atheist community than 100K subs and slinging shit for a living. He is asking people to posture as friends, to pretend to be friends and just get along no matter what's gone on. Somebody has stolen tens of thousands of dollars from you, is still stealing money from you because they're not giving you back the thing that you used to make money with, and against a court order, and basically was like, so sue me. By basically, I mean literally was like, so sue me. What are you gonna do about it? You don't have any money because I took it all from you. You want them to be friends and sing Kumbaya together because it's better to pretend to be friends than having the ethics of putting your foot down and saying, no, you don't get to do this. Fuck you. You have no ethics. You have no moral high ground. You go fuck yourself. I'm looking directly into the camera, but people can't see me. Go fuck yourself. I'll repeat. You have no ethics. You are sacrificing your ethics for a superficial bullshit, let's just get along posturing as friends. You're full of shit. You're an asshole. Go fuck yourself. Your ethics are trash, and the fact that Steve is still friends with you surprises me, at the very least, especially after you pulled this shit. And I feel like the only reason he is because Steve doesn't tend to notice this kind of stuff. Because Steve also wants to get along with everybody. Steve wants to be friends. Steve is a nice guy. I notice this shit. I'm not your friend. Go fuck yourself. Your ethics are shit. You have no high ground to be saying anything after sucking the dick of a fucking thief. You got anything to add to that one?
Well, his whole ideal world that he wants to build seems awfully, I'm going to use this word again, it's almost like convenient friendships. Like, we just got to get along for, like, getting along's sake. Like, we can't just be friends with people who, are, you know, we would actually kind of sync with. I mean, we don't have to sync with everybody. We can not be friends with everybody. That's perfectly fine. I mean, there's a lot of people that I have nothing in common with, and it's fine. If they do their thing, I'll do my thing. We won't talk to each other, whatever. I don't care. It's fine. We don't have to be friends. It's fine. But I don't know if he sees friends that way, because I see how he does see friends, because he calls Steve a friend, and he can't remember anything about Steve. So I can see in his mind how he could be friends with everybody, because it doesn't take any work.
Yeah, it's posturing. It's posturing. He's not really friends with anybody. He just likes to act like he's everybody's friends and thinks everybody should treat him with kids' gloves but we're friends, though. Even though, just because we've been amicable on stream does not make us friends. Like I showed you guys, he never once messaged me before this or talked to me privately. How is the Sorry?
He did refer to you as a friend, though, right?
Well, he referred to me as a friend when he said, oh, is that how friends talk to each other? When he said, I think you did a piss poor, when Red said, I think you did a piss poor job. Bro, he didn't message Red's rhetoric at all for this. He only messaged me. The thing is that Jim underestimated me. Jim underestimated and didn't know who he was dealing with, because he thinks that it seems to me that he thought that I would be nicer to him than Red's is. And don't start with, oh, Red's DMs aren't available. No. All you have to do is at Red's Rhetoric, hey, I need to DM you about something, ? And Red's Rhetoric is also friends with Steve, so if you needed to talk to Red's about something, you could have just asked Steve. But no, he came to me.
And his view of a friend is somebody who would not give him harsh criticism, which I guess if he wants to build a whole world of friends, then really he wants is a whole world of people just to, to kiss his ass. He wants to live in
Teletubby land. There's an issue here with friends tell friends they're assholes all of the time. That's one of the ways you know that you're friends. I tell Steve is an asshole sometimes if I think he's being an asshole. I tell Sweet Heathen or Manya or any of the girls once repressed all of the time if I think they're being a bitch or if I think they're wrong, all of the time. We also use harsh language with each other back and forth. So if why is it okay for Steve to tell you did a piss poor job, but if I do it, it's hostile? Is it because that I'm not on that friend level, even though you're using that as an excuse? Interesting. Neat double standard you got going on there.
Yeah, I'm really not sure exactly what friend means to him. It probably means just something convenient to you.
It changes based on whatever's convenient, yeah. Well, we're friends, so how can you talk to me that way? Now I have an excuse to not talk to you. Neato. This one is the last comment on here. Word on the street is Chesh and Red's Rhetoric might be making response videos to this. I'm hoping they can see my intentions were noble. And I will quote Reds again. What is noble about sucking the dick of a thief? Which I think is a fair question. And this is why I knew he was talking about us. We are the they, because he tells us later who the they is. We're exactly who he was talking about. The irony is, I doubt they do it in person. This happened on Wednesday. The timing on my messages and DMs back and forth with him tell me exactly that he's full of shit. He was offered to come here while we were being amicable, while we were being kind. I only took issue with him after he went to go cause drama and talk shit about me on another channel. Then I started, well, if you're going to accuse me of being harsh, here you go. Let me give you some harsh. You want hostile? Let me give you some hostile. Go fuck yourself. You're bringing us into this. None of us, me, Steve, nor Reds, had said anything publicly about your fucking interview other than that it was happening and it was kind of rough. That was it. We had said nothing. And yet here you are, already prepping your audience to think that we're going to be unproductive and hostile. Because you're saying that, oh, well, I'll listen to constructive criticism, but I don't listen to anything else by caveat it's unproductive and hostile. And you're naming us. You're full of shit.
And if anything, that was probably one of the... Well, actually, I think his first hostile gesture was being super defensive when he first sent you the video to begin with.
Yep.
But that's also very hostile, too. Just
Yep.
calling you out and, like, basically trashing you to their audience about how your opinions don't matter, you know. So when they come out, everybody know that the people who are going to make opinions about this, they don't matter.
Well, he called us out in saying that we probably wouldn't talk to him publicly. No, he refused. He's lying. Also, I'm just going to remind everybody the number 23 that they added. Atheist Edge Commandment number 23. The host of this show immediately disengage from any and all open hostility towards them. We will not take part in creating drama. Bullshit. Or you don't know what drama is, and drama is, you know, as Mr. Sirius has been saying, your definition of words is awfully convenient.
Yeah, it's drama when it works in his favor, but then when it doesn't, it's not drama anymore.
Yep. But I think that's about it. Do you have any last words?
We didn't talk about one thing.
What did we miss?
When was this video posted?
Midnight! It was posted midnight on a Wednesday. I am curious about that. Why would you post a video in the middle of the night on a Wednesday? Because the only reason I can think of is that you didn't want people to see it.
Yeah. I think he was trying to hide it, and it's almost shameful for him. But still, he put it out there, and then he just expected everybody to blow smoke up his ass. And we didn't, and he's all butthurt about it, and I don't give a fuck. I don't want to be his friend. Being his friend is a real shitty thing to be.
Yeah, I think after this, I'm pretty sure... Yeah, Reds is in the chat saying, I never said I was going to make any videos about Jim, ever. So word on the street is that the word you heard on the street was fucking wrong. How about this? He wants to be amicable, let's be amicable. I'm fucking done with this. I think I've said all that needs to be said about this. If he wants to atone for this, he is more than welcome to do so. But tell you what, Jim, keep my name out of your fucking mouth. Because what did you do on Steve's channel? Oh, I know Cheshire's heart. I know this. I know that. I know she's a good person. I know you condescending piece of shit. You don't know shit about me. You've never talked to me. We were on a stream once or twice together. That's it. You've never tried to reach out and have a conversation. Actually, if I remember correctly, you're in the group that Steve had posted that I was being harassed and by Katie Joy Paulson's husband talking about my vagina, and you were one of the people who said and did nothing, and that's why I left that group, if I remember correctly. Because that would be one of the ways you would have found out, since you brought that up again today. Interesting. Failed at engineering for 2 said criticism equals drama when convenient for Jim. Yup. Yup. Funny how that works out. So in the sport and in the good nature of ending any kind of drama, let's be done. Let's call it there. Don't fucking talk about me. You don't know shit about me. End this fucking conversation. He said he would change his title. He offered to change it to whatever I told him to. I said it should be changed to My Apology to Kyle. That's what it should be changed to, at very best.
Delete it.
Yeah, this is an embarrassment. Quite frankly, what you should do is you should create a groveling actual apology video to Steve, to Boole, to the Non Sequitur fans, and now to me. And probably to Reds, too, passively a little bit, because you're kind of just a bitch to him, to be honest. Not as much.
Yeah, and I mean this, like, this is the nicest thing anybody's going to say to you at this point in the video. Jim, delete that video. It is an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment to the community. It's an embarrassment to you. It's an embarrassment to everything you say you stand for. So delete it. The more it stands up, the more I know you just don't give two flying fucks about the community.
Or at best, I know some people have issue or take issues that they don't want to delete their mistakes. If you don't want to delete it because of that reason, put a giant annotation in there that says, I fucked this up. Write your apology out and post it there. After you've recorded it, post it there and make it also a link to the apology video. Because I know some people are like, I made mistakes and I want to blah, 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 blah. Fine, make an annotation and then put also that annotation in the description and tell people to put the annotations on. That takes up the length of the interview, like it's up there the entire time. Not that there's anything visual about that video anyway.
But Jim, let me let you know, if you're watching this, that we don't have any illusions that you're going to make an apology video until it becomes completely convenient for you to do so.
And it probably won't ever be convenient enough for you to do so. You know, maybe unless my channel gets big enough on its own and I'm part of the Atheist in club. Nah, it wasn't about tribalism. How did Keon get in here? Aw, Keon, I thought you got banned. Did you change your... I thought I kicked you out of here. Did you get another... Oh, Whack-A-Mole, he's gone already. Oh, Steve! Yay! And again, I would like an actual answer to that question, because he didn't actually answer the question on Steve's channel. What would Kyle have to do that would be... Because he said his answer for what Kyle would need to do to properly apologize and make things right with Steve and find redemption. What would he have to do? And the only things he listed are the shit that he needs to do to begin to be a decent human being. Right? The shit that, like, return the channel, pay Steve, the basic bitch shit. That doesn't scale anywhere on the stuff that you fucking started. You set this standard that you made some memes and this is the consequence for making amends. So what the fuck does Kyle have to do for stealing money and the channel? And now, how do you make amends to Steve and Boole and the fans and now me? Which is way worse than making a couple fucking malicious memes. I'll be waiting for my dick sucking. You let me know, because it's going to probably have to be, if it was an hour and a half long for you to do it for memes, I'm going to be I'm going to have to book off a whole day.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to answer that question because he doesn't know anything about the topic. He doesn't know anything about what happened to the non-sec, because whenever that's going to come up, it'll conveniently slip his mind until it's convenient for it not to slip his mind, because that's how his mind works. It's super convenient, only works when it needs to work for him, and then when it doesn't need to work and he can suck Kyle's dick for an hour and 40 minutes, it just doesn't work anymore.
I would specify, since Steve is here listening now, Steve, I would reconsider your friendship with this person, because the word friendship does not mean the same thing to this person as it does to you. When he says friendship, he means friendship out of convenience, and he means friendship as in holding hands and singing Kumbaya no matter what. Not what friendship actually is. He means to play at friendship. He means to pretend and posture as if I'm your friend. He didn't stand up for you in this interview. He spoke against you without knowing shit. He didn't give you the benefit of the doubt during this interview in any way, shape, or form. He doesn't know shit about you, apparently. I would recommend catching up on this and seriously reconsider whether or not this person is actually your friend, because from his behavior, he is not. He is not really your friend. He's friends with you because he thinks it's the socially righteous thing to do to be friends with everybody. I would question if he actually even likes you, to be honest, with the way he's behaved. And I think that's my final word.
Yeah, and I think the clincher would be if somebody acted like that in my channel, I would assume that they didn't like me very much. So yeah, I mean, I can't imagine how he could possibly like you and come into your house and act that way. Fuck him. He's a shit friend, and I think we've proved that in this video. And that's it. That's all I gotta say.
Well, I think that people have a lot of catching up to do. This was a total of 3 streams. 2 of them were 2.5 hours long. This one's a little bit longer now because we did the comments. And then the whatever amount of time Steve spent playing footsies with this asshole. So I'm gonna call it there and tell everybody to have a great night, guys. And this was kind of fun, so maybe we'll do it again sometime. Maybe I'll just keep my attitude instead of giving people the kind treatment out the gate. What do you? One in the chat if I should just start this way out of the gate and not be so nice, and 2 in the chat if you think I should be nice the first time until they show up and be an asshole. You have any? Want to say goodbye?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I saw Steve's thing that he wrote about not dismissing friends. Yeah, you know what, Steve? I'm sure that Jim is counting on that because that's super convenient for him. And that's how he works on every level. So I'm sure he loves that about you.
He's taking advantage of Steve's nature. Guaranteed. At the very least. And you can still be friends with him. Just don't expect him to actually be a true friend to you. That not being friends with somebody doesn't mean be mean to them. It doesn't mean not talk to them anymore. It means do not rely on them. Anyway. 2. I should still be a little bit nice. 1. I should still be a little bit nice. All right. I should, No. I'm not going to ask Steve to take sides between me and Jim. I am a little bit disappointed with the way Steve handled that situation, but it's his channel. It's his choice to do that and treat his person as he sees this person as he sees fit. I don't agree with him, but I'm not upset about that. I kind of figured that was going to happen no matter what. But yeah, I'm so hostile. Anyway, I will talk to you guys later. We'll have a good night, and I'll see you guys soon. I'm sure I'll be back. But let's never fucking talk about this shit show again. Bye!
Yeah, that would be convenient.
That would be all.